Right there on the screen, you saw the three drivers tonight that had the best chance to win the North Carolina 811 Cup Series Championship and labeled themselves a champion in the Sim 500. It is a prize that a lot of drivers race for, and unfortunately after 5 races it was down to 10, and then we went through the final 5, and now 3 drivers within 9 points of winning the championship here in this series as we welcome you in to the virtual Phoenix Raceway, Avondale, Arizona, just to the south and west of the Phoenix area as we get ready to crown a champion tonight. 250 kilometers, 156 miles of racing, and 156 laps here at the virtual Phoenix Raceways. We welcome you in. I am the captain, Chris Scala. Kevin England, of course, joins me here in just a second. You see the iRacing default weather as we get ready to rock and roll here from the desert. And it's a very fun and unique 1 mile oval. Let's show the points where they sit entering. Yes, there are 10 drivers that are in the running. And what I mean by the running, they are eligible to win the championship. However, with the points and everything set up, technically, there are 6 drivers in the running to win the championship. However, the top 3 are the 3 we believe that we're going to focus on, so to say. And that's no disrespect to Macklin, Ryan, or Kelly, but with 25 cars right now in this race, that really eliminates those 3 unless something dramatic happens to our points leader tonight, which could, and if it does, we'll include them into the playoff race. But tonight, it's about Falkingham, Comstock, Glazier, those 3 in the running for this championship series. Again, Kevin England joins me, and Kevin, we have got ourselves, yes, the microphone is on tonight, we have got ourselves a fierce battle about to take place here around this desert 1 mile oval. Obviously, let's go through the season. All right, this is the final race of the season. Started all the way back in Daytona with Nelson Rivera going to victory lane. Of course, we didn't take over until Watkins Glen here on the Captain Esports Network after some things happened. And, obviously you've been with me for most of these races. But let's do a little review real quickly because I do want to talk to the drivers that are in the championship hunt here. But, Kevin, this season has been a good one.
It most certainly has. These guys have raced all different tracks, configurations. It was a ton of work to get this far. They had to demonstrate their abilities on all forms of racing, tracks, distances, strategies to get this far. Tonight it's all on the line, and we've seen our big share of winners and surprise winners, and it's just been a spectacular season of racing, and it all comes down to tonight here at Phoenix.
It is all getting crowned here this afternoon here in the desert here in Phoenix. As I mentioned, 3 drivers in the running to win this championship. And right now, looking at the standings in practice, Bentley Glazier, the best right now of the 3. He's 3rd in practice. Daniel Falkingham 4th. And, of course, David Comstock in 12th right now. But let's talk with, we're going to talk to all 3 drivers here in the next 10 minutes or so before qualifying. Guess we're on a little early, and of course, my phone ringer is just going to go off with text messages now. It's my Facebook going off. Sorry about that. Anyways, all right, let's talk to some drivers here. So let's talk first off the guy that has been dominant. 12 wins on the season, and it's a championship that he feels is his to take. For those that want to take it from him, basically, you're looking at... you're going to have to bring a torch, a chainsaw, and other types of objects to take this championship away from Daniel. And there's another kind of big deal that could be happening tonight. We'll talk about that in a second. But Daniel, obviously, I'm going to bring you up here. I know you're on track as you just went P1 on the board there. So I know that's what you've been looking for. We actually rode from the rear chase of your car during the intro as you went sideways all through turn 1, which I thought was interesting. But let's talk a little bit here tonight. This is the night you've been waiting for. Obviously, 12 wins. You've been the dominant car all season long. Once again in this series. Here's your chance at that championship. What's the thoughts, the mindset? How you feeling right now as you go into this race?
Yeah, like you said, I've been doing the song and dance for the last 3 years. I've been a part of the championship hunt in the last 3 years, and I've come up short, and I've probably been screwed out of every way possible. So, and I'm not gonna let that happen tonight. I heard you mentioned like when I came in here But hey, you have to throw everything at me. It's gonna be like a whole no hold bar WWE match out here tonight, I guess. But you have to throw everything at me if you're gonna stop me. And tonight I'm gonna do everything to make sure it doesn't happen. I've been through the previous 3 years and it's not happening again. I'm gonna make sure of that.
So here's the one thing that I do want to bring up because some people might not know this, the viewers watching tonight. There is a rule in Sim500. Once you become a pro driver, you are, I don't want to use the word banned or anything, but excluded from the league because they try to keep pro drivers out and allow others to race in that kind of thing. Obviously, you're right on the cusp, if not already becoming a pro driver in this series. So there's a chance that we are watching you for the final time, at least for now, in this Cup Series and in Sim 500. So, how big of a factor from that standpoint does winning this championship mean to you?
Yeah, probably not really haven't focused on because we still got 4 weeks left of the Contender Series to see if I actually make the Coke or not. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, this could be my swan song for the foreseeable future. Trying not to think about it too much. I'm just going in like I've done for the last 4 years here at 7500, just going in and try to do the best I can, try to win every race I can, and we'll let the cards fall where they may. So it'd be nice if this were to be my swan song. I know I really don't want to think that way because
Right.
I mean I'll be right back here if Contender doesn't go too well, but I know definitely gonna do everything I can because I mean if I go on to bigger and better things next year, this is my last shot I got for a little while. So definitely probably gonna be one of the hardest races I'm gonna drive in my life. So we'll see what happens, and we're gonna make sure we get this thing done.
Outside of luck, what do you feel like is your biggest opponent tonight outside the two drivers?
Um, what do you mean by two
Like,
drivers?
obviously got the two main drivers that you're going to be racing against for the championship because you got two drivers 8 and 9 points back. Outside of that, okay, what's the biggest thing that you feel like you have to worry about tonight?
I'd say the biggest thing I got to worry about is to make sure to not let them lead laps or let them get too far in front of me because I mean we're within 10 points. So even if they're a few spots in ahead of me, and if they like lead a lot of laps, then the points are become even closer. So I definitely need some non-playoff guys to get up there. Like Byron is in here; he's gonna be fast all night, and I need a bunch of other them guys to kind of be a bubble for me. So yeah, and all other than that, just to make no mistakes, because I mean this is one of our longer races.
Yeah.
It's half distance of the real life race, so it's gonna be a bit of a long race to get through. So we got to make sure we just keep our head on a swivel and make sure we do all the right stuff.
Absolutely, Daniel. Well, hey, with best of luck, man. Either way, we'll probably talk to you at the end of this race. 156 laps tonight. Go get it, man. Best of luck.
Chris, hopefully we're talking to you with the big trophy.
Sounds good. All right, Daniel Falkingham there, the points leader as we enter tonight by 8, and obviously that just means basically go out and win the thing, and he'll be pretty safe. Let's give him down to his team name channel there, and of course Kevin knows. Join me, Kevin. I'll throw the option out there to you if you would like to speak with. Let's see who David will be the next driver we're going to bring up here. If not, then I can just keep on going. Nice organization on my end, but we're just kind of winging it as we go. I just moved him to the wrong channel. David's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" Did I move? Oh, never mind. I got him up here with us. So, all right, David Comstock now joins us. David, of course, you enter the playoffs here, top 3 right now. You're one of those 3 drivers that have the best shot, we'll call it, to win the championship. Now, we talked to Daniel. Daniel obviously is the point leader. So, from your view, being a top 3 driver in this case, you want to make sure I get this accurate, second in points by 8. What is your perspective going into this race? Do you just go control what you can control and you know what? Whatever you do is the best you could do, or is this one of those you're going to keep an eye up there on Daniel and see what he's doing?
Well, I'd say I'm not in the best position because leading with an 8-point lead is the best position to be
Right.
in. With how competitive we all are and how quick we all are, if we're gonna have to battle, all 3 of us are gonna be up there all night. So, barring any unforeseen circumstances where hopefully that didn't happen, we get a good clean battle all the way throughout. We're all going to be ranging in the top 5. Daniel's probably going to be all up there most of the night and within the top 2 or 3, I'd assume. I'm just going to do the best I can. That's all I can try to do for myself is just I know where I'm at with everything, and I know what my mark needs to be. Try to lead a lap at least. Try to get catch up and keep up with him on bonus points because that is also where it can turn into an 8-point to a 10-point deficit by the end of the race, and then plus you have the 3 bonus for winning. So You know, if he finishes, he needs to finish 8th because I can't have a tiebreaker. He's got wins on me. So, you know, there are some things, yeah, but I mean, there's so many things that could be out of your control. Best case scenario for myself, just try to just do the best I can, try to keep myself clean and keep control of what I can control on my own and where the cards land at the end of the day. As long as I give it the best I can do, I can't be upset myself with how things turn out.
Do you sense any kind of maybe a disadvantage or an advantage looking over at the standings and seeing yourself in 9th and knowing that your two opponents are up there 1st and 4th?
No, not really. I mean, I'm trying to get a feel for the track. I'm still trying to iron out some things for myself, to A and B, some things that just my personal feel for what
Right.
I'm looking for to get myself comfortable. If I can get myself comfortable, I can be faster on the track. So I'm racing the racetrack. I've been 13th or 14th on the standings and still wound up getting, talking to you guys at the end of the night in
Right.
some shape, way, or fashion. So what comes down is in the race. Practice is practice. It's like claiming you did good because you won a heat.
That's fair. Well, look, obviously it's been a great season for you, and you've worked your way up throughout the standings, throughout the regular season, and into the playoffs. You've got 2 wins. You're right up there. You're one of 3 drivers with 20 plus top 10 finishes, and the other 2 are the ones you're battling for the playoffs, for the championship here. So you've definitely earned your right to be up here in the top 3, and we wish you nothing but the best here, David. And either way, we'll likely talk here after the race.
Sounds good. We're gonna best luck to Bentley and Daniel. We're gonna go and do the best we can and try to put this Monster Energy Chevy out front at the end of the night, where everything lands. It is what it is. So I'm gonna go out there and try to just not play it easy,
Right.
keep weight off my shoulders, and just mainly have a good time tonight.
There you go.
But
That's all that matters.
hope you guys enjoy the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You too. And best of luck, obviously, to David Comstock. Right now, 9th and fastest, but he'll qualify here in just a moment. As a matter of fact, qualifying is going to start here in about 45 seconds. So what I'll do is I'll wait and talk to Bentley as we go into the warm-up here part of this race. So you've heard 2 interviews so far, Kevin. What is anything stood out from? Yeah, you're welcome, bud. From what they have said that has kind of caught your eye?
I think they both know what the mission is to get themselves the championship tonight. Daniel does sound like he's on kill, but he's been here before, and this is why they run at 156 laps. We're going to find out how this goes, and it is by no means a lock for Daniel in this go-round.
It is not, and we'll try to get all 3 qualifying here for their laps when they get out here on track. As qualifier practice is wrapping up literally right now. Any minute here, the iRacing will reset itself. You'll see the screen kind of change colors here and go dimmer. Right there. There's that look I was telling you about. So, ta-da! So, all right, qualifying is going to begin right now. So we're going to wait and see. I'm going to keep track here and see. It looks like Bentley Glazier's going around on track first car here. So we are going to jump down to him in this number 18 car. This is good because I'll be able to talk to him as soon as he's done with these 2 laps and see how he feels here. And got qualifying all set up there. You see how it looks right down there. He'll be the first one to cross the line. And as per usual, if you see a purple color, that means he's on track for a pole lap. If he's in the green, that means he's on track for a faster lap. If he's in the yellow, that means he'll match lap times or go slower on that lap as he will cross the line right now. And obviously he's going to be purple because he's the first car to cross the line.
Suspect all these guys will run high on the out lap, get those tires up to temperature, and then cut that corner coming down to the front straightaway here. Good hustle up out of the corner.
He got tight in one, it looked like.
Stretch.
He got tight in one, it looked like there.
Yeah.
3 and 4, wrapping the line exactly like you're supposed to.
Let him rip right out here to the fence. I think he was just trying to get all he could.
27.50 for Bentley Glazier. He's P1 right now. As Daniel's coming out on track right now. Falkingham is... I'm looking to see... I do not see Comstock on track yet, so this might actually work out. We can show them both. As you see, Jose Gonzalez right now in the green. Oh, he slides off that corner. and a 69 that time by. So he is going to be on the pole right now, but here's Daniel on track.
First lap was faster for Glazer, so we're going to have to watch this 39 here.
To the top, 27.43 for Daniel Falkingham. He's going to cut it off there after one lap. He looks pretty good with that. And right on cue, the third car crossing the start-finish line. What are the odds I worked that out somehow? It's like actual Cup qualifying.
Hard to pass here, so these guys
No
are going to
kidding.
want to do whatever they can to get a good starting position.
It would only make sense if, like, the top three end up the top three.
Yeah.
It would only make sense.
Could imagine they put in quite a bit of practice this week.
Comstock a little high there in turn one. Missed the bottom. That's not going to help him. He's going to have to probably run for two here. Yeah, 15th fastest, 28.07. He's got to gain almost 0.6 to get to the pole. About 0.4 will get him up in the top three.
Yeah, I'm afraid he's got a shovel and he's digging himself a hole. That was not a good corner over there. And the second lap is generally slower. We'll see how he turns out here.
Well, he got the
Not
bottom this
down to the
time.
bottom.
He still didn't get all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, and he's got a lift here because the car's going to come all the way up to the fence, and he's going to be
Ninth.
disappointed with
He
that.
jumped the ninth, 27.79 for those guys. All right, so while qualifying goes on here, we'll just click on, I don't know, exciting, I guess, or something, crashing. Let's
At a
go.
regular night, that would have been okay.
Right.
But tonight,
Not
with,
okay. Well,
yeah,
especially
he's
you.
going to be disappointed in
Well,
that.
and David's
But,
second in points by 8, so yeah, no, absolutely, you're right.
yeah, the good news is he's got a lot of laps to make up for it, so that's okay.
All right, Bentley Glazier is actually not in Discord, so I can't even talk to Bentley, unfortunately.
You know, win or lose, Falkingham's made a stamp on this league as one of the most versatile drivers of all time. 121 poles, 139 wins. It puts him far above everybody else in the modern era. But, you know, if you look, take his number and name off the board and look back there, David Comstock's right there as one of the top guys. Surprisingly, and I wasn't really, he runs so under the radar, but he and Macklin, if you look at the point championship stats, 60 and 59 wins respectively. And then we've not talked about this, but there could be a spoiler tonight. Chad Coleman, for whatever reason, just takes to this racetrack. That 38 tap-out tuning Chevrolet, that Camaro is always fast here. He's got a good number of wins, and he's always lurking in that top 5, and I think you got to keep an eye on that 38 tonight as a spoiler.
Justin Fuller on track actually just entered the room, so it's going to be his first couple laps right here in qualifying. But, yeah, that's a fair point there. And you know what? The one race that we've covered from Phoenix, actually it was 2 races that we've covered. I go back to the first one, more importantly. That was a race that featured Daniel Falkingham dominating the race. And this is, and there goes Fuller around.
Yeah, lost it.
This was the FEG Xfinity Series I bring up here. Falkingham led the majority of the laps and had some contact, actually, with Josh Adams. And lost that race in the final couple laps. And then, of course, it was the Mojica show in the fall later on that season. But I bring that up because anything can happen. If we get a late caution in this race, I mean, you can almost throw the Yahtzee can out there and shake some dice up in predicting what could really happen when this thing is all said and done. So, I mean, give me a couple of keys you think that are going to be big factors here in tonight's race.
Yeah, this is a driver's track. You have to drive the crap out of the car, but also have to save tires as you're doing it. So how do you do that? I don't know. The one who does that the best is going to, get the job done. Hard to pass.
Yes.
And this track is like no other. You're not going to honor that yellow line. We're going to see these guys cutting the apron. When they come back together to get the corner, there'll be a lot of collisions. You try and hustle the car as much as you can through those corners. Sometimes whack the wall coming up off, trying to get all the good you can to the straightaway. This track, unlike anything else, it's complex to drive.
It is. It is very tricky. It's all about rhythm. It's a very technical racetrack, and obviously can play a pretty big role in how you finish and how good you run in this race. And let's take a look at the starting lineup as Daniel Falkingham is on the pole tonight. And of course, that poll is brought to you by the 811 call before you dig. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Bentley Glazier, he'll start there on the outside of row number 1. So first and third in points, starting first and second. Tommy Ryan and Justin Mons, he'll take row number 2. Jose Gonzalez, Mike Kelly, they're in row number 3. Row 4, Scott Simley and Jimmy Coleman there in the 54 car. Row number 5, Mike Montesi and Byron Daly.
David Comstock going to start 11th here tonight. 12th to his outside Tyler Dalton. Glenn Campbell in the 44 starts 13th to his outside 14th starting spot for Doy Woods. Chad Coleman in the 38 starts 15th. 16th tonight is Joey Jatina in the 14. Doug Roth going to start off in that 17th position to his outside. Charles Wood in the number 40. Charles Woods. It's Jose Medina in the 24, starting 19th. Outside, row 10, Justin Fuller in the number 51.
And take a look
through the
go ahead.
rest of the pack. Parker in the 81 starts 21st. Randy Yoakum, 22nd. 23rd tonight for Andrew Teff. Doug Sigmund going to start 24th. 25th, Thomas O'Leary, the 4th. Good to see him back. Brian Workman going to start 26 after a fantastic run last night.
Yeah.
And starting shotgun, Gerald Livingston in the number 96. He'll start 27th.
As mentioned, this is one of the longer races of the season. 156 laps, 250 kilometers, basically, and 156 miles around this just over 1 mile oval. And of course, the front straightaway now over near the dog leg. A champion gets crowned tonight in the 811 Cup Series as Falkingham leads them to the green. And
4 or
straight to
5 wide going through that dog leg. Classic Phoenix.
as they all fall into this 9-degree bank sweeping turn 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. And they'll head down to the 11-degree turn 3 and 4. Obviously 2 degrees of 2 degrees separation in the banking. Of course, our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online or on Facebook. They are on the iRacing forums. As around goes Byron Daly on the back straightaway, or the front stretch. I'm about calling it the back straightaway. And Jatina's up in the outside wall. No caution. Somehow everybody saved this thing.
Wow, Jatina, his car's destroyed. That right rear looks like it's got
right
a broken toe link.
Oh, Jatina.
Yeah, not the way he wants to start his final race of the season.
See how this all transpired. Oh, Tyler Dalton got loose too, and Jatina runs him over. Everybody kept it straight though, but heavy damage on the 14, the 19, and the 06.
Wow.
As mentioned, no caution.
Yeah, Joey able to get his car down to the apron and call for a tow truck. They took him off quickly as Bentley Glazier came back around Tommy Ryan to pick up second right now. Was in third there when that incident was going on, but he was able to scoot low and move around the Virginia811.com Camaro of Tommy Ryan sitting there in third.
As we mentioned tonight, that Daniel Falkingham won the pole this afternoon, or just a few minutes ago, I should say, in the 811 Pole Award. So I want to give them a shout out real quick. Know what's below before you dig. Make sure you call 811 no matter what state you are in. It is 1, the law, and 2, a smart thing to do. So know what's below and call 811 before you dig. Congratulations, Daniel Falkingham, on winning the pole here tonight. So.
Yeah, just got to say thanks to the support for the North Carolina 811 call before you dig all season long. They've been in here for the Cup Series, and they're proud to have a chance to watch and crown the champion here tonight. Listen to a podcast interview from them just recently with Daniel Falkingham. Pretty interesting information to know a little more about Daniel, and they did a great job with that, and they've been great supporters of the league all the way through.
We ride with Tommy Ryan down the back straightaway here. You're going to hear some shifting and stuff going on. I'm listening right now. I think Tommy's still in 5th gear.
This is one of those tracks where you try to decide whether you're going to cut the apron or not, and a lot of drivers, when they're just cruising, will not cut that, but on the restarts, they'll go way down low, almost to that inside line, as you see them come off the corner here, just trying to get the car down to the yellow line, use all the racetrack up to the outside, and then steer down in, just smooth entry, smooth off. Always fun to ride by that cactus over there by the start-finish line.
Yeah, that lit up LED cactus they put in when they did the old switcheroo on the start-finish line. That is a pretty cool idea. Obviously, shades of what Texas does with the lit up fence. Yeah, pretty cool deal there. And also Daytona's got the little lights above the start-finish line that kind of tells you when the flag is out there and stuff. So let's check back here. David Comstock is already up 3 positions. Started in the 11th spot, up to 8th. Into 13 car. Just going to be very patient here, knowing 156 laps, a very long race. And has plenty of time to work his way up here through the field. You still got the 3 sets of tires to work with. And just so much time here to make up. So obviously, yeah, he's got his work cut out for him, but obviously looking pretty good so far.
Never been great at math, but if you take 156 laps, you add the tire set that they started on, and that makes 5 sets of tires total. It's about 31 laps, but I'd imagine they're not going to pit unless there's a caution. And some of these guys you can make pretty good time on worn tires here. You're not going to be fast, you're not going to pass, but at the end, when it counts, if you get a late race caution, you might be able to do some damage with fresh tires. So it'll be interesting to see how drivers conserve the tires tonight.
Josh Parker and you saw Justin Fuller get past the 43 of Doug Roth there for position, so move them each up 1, Roth back 2. You know, I actually learned recently that there are, according to people, at least what I've learned, there are 3 types of mathematicians. One that knows math and one that doesn't.
Yeah.
As we're 12 laps in. Roy Woods in the 28 car at a track that I remember him calling one of his favorites to run. He loves this Phoenix Raceway. And he's looking to put that Haviland car potentially in a victory lane. Davey Allison did win a race here, I believe 1991, at this 1-mile track. Brian Wertman on pit road for some reason. 74.
Yeah, not sure what that would be about. There'd be no logical reason to pit it this time unless you had some serious damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's got maybe some kind of maybe a wheel issue or something going on. And I don't mean like a loose wheel like in real life. I mean like maybe something going on system-wise or whatnot. So, or maybe he had to start park.
Looks like he's doing a drive-through.
Interesting.
Only thing that would cause that is sometimes you do something odd, you drive into the pit road area and it ends up giving you a penalty.
I've had a weird glitch happen before at Richmond, I think once, where it told me I cut the track and I was simply turning into turn 1.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Interesting. One driver you mentioned a little bit ago could be one to watch in this race. Mr. Georgia Bulldog there, Chad Coleman, up 4 spots. From his 15th place starting spot up to 11th there into 38. The tap out tuning car. You see how loose it's getting there. And be very careful on the throttle, especially as the tires wear.
This is a type of racetrack you never know. It's almost bipolar. Sometimes there's a bunch of different cautions, and other times you could run 70 laps in a row. Right now, a little bit of conveyor belt racing. Everybody's kind of stretched out, running nose to tail. Got a little space. If they get to somebody and put a little pressure on them, they could probably juke on by. I suspect we're going to have a long green flag run here for a period.
As Comstock gives up a spot to the Mike Montesi car, that Kohler Generators Ford. Well, Daniel leads up there, 17 laps in, half second on Bentley Glazier. He is not letting him go. The problem is it's not one of those win and you win the championship things. This is one of those, Daniel's doing everything. You go, whoa, Montesi off the pace. Not sure what happened to the 6. He's going to lose 2 spots. I didn't see his back end come around or anything. I just saw him all of a sudden park the bus, it looked like.
Maybe he clipped the apron coming off the corner and the car got unsettled or something. Yeah, he got loose, went down, collected the apron, and instead of steer up the racetrack, he took the better.
Just kept
Especially with Comstock behind him.
Justin Fuller in the 51 is taking his car behind the wall. So, not sure what's going on here all of a sudden in the next last few minutes here with cars either coming to pit road or taking a car behind the wall, but the 51 off. But I was just starting to say, for Bentley, here's the one issue you have right now. You entered the race with a 9-point deficit. So right now, I mean, you're doing the best you can do outside of winning this race.
These guys need a little divine intervention, right? They need someone to beat Daniel. Not only them, but others to help in the cause.
Well, the only thing right now I've seen that could potentially beat Daniel is his microphone. But 20 laps in next
We've
time.
been in this situation before, though, Chris, where he's been leading every lap going into the final. And I remember when Macklin stole the championship away, and
Yeah.
I'll use that word lightly. He earned it, no doubt. But Daniel had some trouble midway through the race. He thought it was going to be a lock. And as he said, he's been this dance before. But today he needs to Joey Logano them and just finish the job.
Basically, I mean, Joey started on the pole, led, I believe he led the most laps in that race. As you know, I wrote an article recently about it. Led the most laps in the race outside of he and Ryan Blaney, his teammate. So that's basically what Daniel's trying to do here. But Bentley is not letting him go. He's right there on his tail end, and Jose Gonzalez only 1.8 seconds back. Justin Mons only 4 seconds back. Justin looking to finally have just one great race put together for him, as he has had all types of trouble since he got into this playoffs. As you see Tommy Ryan go to his inside. Tommy makes the pass going to turn one. There's Mike Kelly there behind him, but obviously Tommy, one of the main, as you mentioned, Virginia 811 drivers. Of course, Mike Kelly's got the 811 on the car. All those drivers, and a big shout out again to those great people there at the 811 for sponsoring this series all season long. It's been our pleasure to cover ever since the Watkins Glen race. And Tyler Dalton with issues.
In general, I'll tell you, with the Martinsville sponsorship and some of the other things that they've been doing in motorsports, I love companies that support motorsports all around. And not only the sim racing world, they see the value in that, but all the different programs that they have to get the word out. It's really cool how they support the series.
Tyler Dalton has had issues over in turn 3 and 4. And it looks like he just gets loose right in front of Wortman and spins it right down on the pit road. We stay green, but unfortunately, he got one race in with that South Carolina paint scheme. He's got it again tonight on that car, and he's in for 4 tires and fuel right now. And probably pretty disappointed right now, but look at this for the lead. Bentley Glazier is there. Daniel, good entry into turn 3 and 4. So
I think Tyler would fill this place with water if he had his chance. He does not like this racetrack.
It's one that you either like or you don't. I know that sounds kind of like, okay, isn't that every track, Scala? Well, yes, but a lot of tracks you go out there and race at, the majority of the people are going to like it. Phoenix is one of those, much like New Hampshire, much like Iowa.
Right.
You got that group of people that like the track, and then you got that group of people that absolutely want it filled up with water or backhoed or whatever you want to call it. And this is one of those tracks, and this is the reason, because you get the flatness of it, and we're so used to racing on tracks that have 24 degrees of banking or whatever, and it creating fast speeds and stuff. Phoenix, you get speeds up to about 160 mile an hour on the straightaways, but then you go into the corners, you're down near 100 to 110 miles an hour in these corners. So it's definitely got the speed on the straightaways, but into the corners, it is definitely a short track feel, as you see Chad Coleman make the pass on Scott Simley there in the 12.
This track reminds me of Bristol, which is going to be such a strange analogy. But in that context, it's such a rhythm track. Get in the corner, get in the throttle the right way, roll the car down. And there's a certain feel like racing a flat track of New Hampshire where you float the car in, you hope it goes through. And I think sometimes you love this track because you just seem to have that Bill Murray rhythm another time. You just can't stand it because you can't ever repeat it. You can't figure it out. It's like and I don't know if that has to do with the weather or
hold
whatever
on,
the case
David.
may be.
David lost the back end there big time in front of Daly. Still trying to catch it.
You got nicked. We just had Tyler Dalton. I was watching. You're watching now, and I'm watching Tyler. His 18 is sideways. Glazer going across, and he saves it.
Wow. Issues all of a sudden for the playoff drivers.
Wow.
What
We've not talked about going down there in no man's land. It's tough to go on that apron. Sometimes you catch it the wrong way and the car just steps out, just like the 18 did. What kind of tire damage did he do?
Well, here's what I'm looking at all of a sudden. It's like, okay, what is causing the looseness in these cars? Well, let's look over here at the weather on the far right. Meteorologist McScally here, apparently. So we're in the middle of May on the iRacing date, which is the default date that we use in iRacing. Basically, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you look down in the bottom, that 130 number, that is the track temperature right now. So these cars are on ice skate rinks right now, and they do this kind of purposely in the Sim500. If you notice, there's not many, if any, night races on the schedule. All the races are in the middle of the sunlight, and they do that to try to create actual racing when it comes to handling of the cars and stuff. So that is why you're seeing these cars out here dancing a little bit, doing the Phoenix Foxtrot, if you will, and that's PH Foxtrot. And as one car blinks out right in front of Bentley's, but yeah, I mean,
It'd be a good rapper name.
I got nothing.
I know.
I've got nothing. So going back to your Bristol Phoenix comment, Montesi in trouble now.
Yeah, he's just struggled all night long. There was a pair of sixes going on before where the 06 slid underneath.
Oh, he's going to bring the
Montesi.
caution out. It did not come out, and we got a pass for the lead. Jose Gonzalez. Where did he... Something had to have happened to Daniel. Because he was out by about a second, and you look at Tommy Rines right there.
I think Daniel's just conserving, and Jose is master of the long run. If you've ever watched these races like this, you know Jose and or Pedro Mojica are going to be the drivers to watch.
I'm going back here to see if I can find something on Falkingham. There goes Montesi going around. Yeah, I guess he just hawked him down. I don't know if I just missed something or what, but I mean, Jose put the smash.
It's only because there's 85 things going on all over the place. What a crazy race so far.
And tonight we're a two-man show, by the way, since you're here. So usually it's just me, myself, and I. Great De La Soul song. Yeah, so I do everything I can. I use a lot of the telemetry to kind of find everything in this little highlight board. One of these days I'll go on the air and show you guys all my gimmicks and tricks and stuff I do for broadcasting. But Jose Gonzalez, who has won plenty of poles this season. He's battled a hurricane or two down in Puerto Rico. And now that wasn't a bad actual roll there. Is now leading this race here in Phoenix. Up 4 spots. Falkingham trying to hold off Tommy Ryan for second. You wonder a little bit here, Kevin, if you're... I'm trying to put myself in Daniel's shoes here. With the issues to Bentley and Comstock running 12th right now, does it allow him to kind of back off a little bit and say, you know what, now I can go into championship mode instead of winning this race mode?
Yeah, he's out so far ahead of everybody else. There really is no reason to run the car to death, especially, again, this looks like it's going to be a long run. And
ooh, Coleman. Mons had him tight to the banking there on the bottom. And Coleman had that car washed out there, had to catch it, and I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with Justin on that move. That's the way it goes here at Phoenix, and that's the great racing you get here. No side force on these Cup cars. Now I'm going to try for the third time to explain the Bristol comparison here to Phoenix. And here's how I explained this, I believe, in the... I don't remember what series I explained this into somebody, but I tried to explain this the best way possible. When I see cameras, Justin Mons!
ooh, yeah,
I'm going to try to get this analogy out real quickly. So,
did a little shuffle there.
yeah, no kidding, right? So, when you look at tracks, I'm one of those, like, I've watched so many races, and I don't know if that's the broadcasting part of me from being in radio all these years and doing broadcasting school and stuff, but I look at tracks and I can point out a track just from the cameras and stuff like that. And when Phoenix made the change and moved the backstretch to the front stretch to the backstretch, I look at these cameras, and the camera package that comes to my mind, and it kind of got me to thinking where this track might actually race a lot like, is Richmond.
Richmond, yeah.
Because when you look at these cameras and you go watch the Richmond cameras, they're very similar now with the way the track shape is. Because one thing you'll always see, the backstretch camera is always coming from turn 3 looking back down the back straightaway. You've got the camera that looks right over the front straightaway start-finish line coming out of turn 4, and it kind of gives you a Richmond visual. So that's where I think this track races more like Richmond, maybe a little bit of Martinsville involved in that with the tight corners and stuff, but Bristol definitely threw me off, but I understand where you're coming from on the rhythm side, because yes, you've got to find your marks on this track, and you've got to be very careful, especially on a slick track like this, how much you roll the throttle through this corner, and especially right here, you can get very loose off, just like Byron Daly did in the 06 there. You get almost a tight loose. You're trying to turn the wheel, but you want to try to be as straight as you can off the corner. As the 08, another Virginia 811 car on track here tonight. That's the 08 you mentioned earlier, Thomas O'Leary the 4th.
I could come back and explain that. I really didn't elaborate this. When you run Bristol, you're not even looking at the track. You're listening to the sound. You're stepping on the gas up out of the corner. You let off at a certain point. You turn it down. You wait till you get through the middle. This racetrack races like that in the context that when you drive it through the corner, where you pick up the throttle and all of that, you're just completely doing it by feel. In the opening, I had said, this is a driver's track, and that's what I mean by that. How fast you go down through the corner, you hit the apex, you drive off, is all on the driver and the throttle.
That totally makes sense. Now, I will add this to that analogy, because this is one thing I've had to explain. And in some reason, I feel like I've had this conversation with somebody before. I don't think it was you. But when you race at Bristol, I have come to the point where I can, and you know what, I think it was the Martinsville race I brought this up. At Bristol, I have found marks on the track as Bentley gets loose there in the dog leg. I have found spots on that track where I actually use those as my marks through the corner. I do listen to the sound, but I've been able to learn how to put my car into a rhythm by doing that. And Phoenix is one of those tracks, and Doy Woods on pit road, unscheduled pit stop. I noticed Mr. Jose Medina is taking his car behind the wall. A lot of people having issues out here. I wonder if this Phoenix heat is affecting maybe the health of drivers.
This could be a scheduled pit stop for him. You know, it isn't too early if you want to jump the gun to go in and get some fresh tires and see if you can make some hay here. Is Josh Parker running 6th? Where did he start? 21st.
Mr. Come from the back.
How about that?
That's what he does.
And he's staring out the front windshield, just trying to see if he can wrestle away a top 5 of Bentley Glazer, who's slipping back ever so slightly here.
The one who's actually slipping back, and it's a great transition here. You see Bentley there battling for 5th, but Comstock is back to 14th now. You wonder if he's just kind of hanging a little bit. And you know what? You kind of got to worry at this point for him, because it's got the green flag look. And as you know, this series, this could easily become 156 laps of caution-free racing. And I'm not trying to jinx anything. I'm just straight being honest here. And in that case, if you're back here where the 13 is, that could be a problem. Justin Bond's
I've seen a
on pit
couple of
road.
these drivers be banging the wall with the right side, and I have to wonder if some of those have caused some damage, slowed the cars down a little.
Well, I noticed Doy Woods took a regular pit stop there, 15.5. He rolls out. Justin Mons on pit road here.
He's banged the wall quite a few times, speaking of the devil.
And he overshoots his pit stall. Let's see what this Gamer 49 car does. Right side tires going on here. Now, with this happening, I can't help but think to myself, you'd split this race in 3 from here, but you're still... This is an extended stay for Mons. He took the 4 tires, and he's sitting there right now. So, Doug Sigmund on pit road. But, I mean, if you pit right now, you're looking at still 109 laps to go in this race. So you're splitting it by 50, what, 4.5? So 55 laps, 54, 55 laps to make it a two-stopper?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I think Mons has some pretty serious damage. He must have banged the wall a little harder than we thought there.
Unfortunate
Still
for
sitting
them.
down there. He had a fast car tonight.
So Tommy Ryan is still sitting here on the back bumper of the 39 of Daniel Falkingham, 1.6 seconds back. They've all driven away from the 2 of Mike Kelly. Now, one thing I've noticed, you might be able to see my mouse on the screen, but if you look at the gear that Tommy Ryan is in, 4th, has not shifted to 5th yet at all. Not using 5th gear at all. Now, one thing about these Cup cars, if you're new to watching these next-gen cars, or I guess we call them the current-gen cars now, the gearing in the car is the exact same at every track. So the gear they use here at Phoenix is the same gear used at Texas, the same gear used at Martinsville, the same gear used at Darlington. So that's where you get all the different tracks where they were shifting at this season and things like that. Now, I could see next season there's probably going to be a gearing change because I think some of the short tracks that, like Martinsville, for example, the shifting kind of created a single groove racing. But that's one cool feature about this car as we come up here on the 1/3 mark. And I'll tell you what, let's step away one quick second here. We're going to hear from our sponsor, the 811, taking a break here on the Captain Esports Network as you're watching the Sim500 here from the virtual Phoenix Raceway.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here from the Phoenix Raceway. 53 laps in the books as we watch all these cars on board go fighting. And we got pit stops. Bentley Glazier is on pit road as Brian Wortman goes around and caution comes out. And he tows it back to pit road to caution out with Glazier on pit road.
Wow. Will Bentley pit? I don't think he can.
Yeah,
I think in order for him to stay on the lead lap.
And he's barely going to stay on the lead
I
lap.
know he's going to pull in. Up, overshot his pit. Now the question is, yeah, he's going to take tires.
You know what? That is going to be an interesting call here because if he drives through his pit, he might have actually beat Gonzalez back to the line. But he goes ahead and takes the tires and fuel here. So he's going to be a lap down, unfortunately.
But he's likely to be the first car, which means he'll get a wave around.
Well,
and he would have been in the back had he pulled out anyway because he was on pit road. So,
well, you can't.
But,
well, let me correct you there, Kev. You cannot get a lucky dog on pit road. So he's going to have to take the wave around.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. He was going to get a wave around on this,
that
one
part
way
is
or
accurate.
another.
Yes, that part is accurate. As the leader's on pit road here, we'll show you the replay. And oh, Jose, you're way too close to the wall. And not only that, you overshot your pit stall. 4 tires and fuel for everybody. That was a big break for Daniel Falkingham, and even a bigger break for David Comstock.
Well, we knew eventually this was going to come to pass, that we would find a caution and shake everything up. That's what a Comstock needs. That's what a Glazer needs. Unfortunately for Bentley, that the luck went the wrong way, but there's still so many laps to go.
Let's see what happens to the 74, Brian Wortman. Looks like he had issues over in the dog leg. He was just trying to stay out of the way of people. Byron Daly coming to his outside there. That's a pretty sharp angle to that dog leg. Yeah, you see the back end comes around there. He saves it. Yeah, Andrew Teff looks like it was going to come to pit road here. Oh, and Brian just loses it down on the apron, spins out in there. Oh, right in front. Oh, and the leader gets hit.
Wow.
That was right in front of the points leader and everything. Oh, no, Brian. Unfortunate deal. Jose Gonzalez, though, got a piece of that.
Sometimes when you get those left sides on the apron and the right sides are on the track and you're off camber with the way the track is banked, it'll de-wedge the car and make it come around.
Unfortunate situation there. And I know Brian obviously did not mean to do it. He's probably feeling really terrible about this. But he tries to lock it down. He did. Look at Daniel had to slide through there. So first,
I killed Chad Coleman at, but not one of my worst moments. Yeah, he just had left side tires on that apron and the car just was not going to set that way.
all right, so let's go back. I want to go back to the Bentley Glazier pit stop. And the reason why I want to show this, well, first things first, we didn't see this part. He pretty much wrecked on the pit road. He slid it all kinds of sideways.
It is so hard. We've not had the opportunity to talk about this, to get on pit road
Yeah.
here, because you're in the racing groove over there when you're trying to get off the racetrack.
And this pit road is one of the things that really didn't change much when they did the reconfiguration other than this portion right here. And you see the cautions out. And the reason why I'm showing this right now is he's still in the lead lap at this moment. Watch really closely right about there. There's Jose Gonzalez in the top left of the screen. There's Daniel Falkingham over here in turn 1. Tommy Ryan right here in turn 1. All these guys are still, this is the leader of the race right here. So if Bentley drives out of pit road, he probably stays on the lead lap. But instead, if you look to the right, he's in his pit stall right there. So now he's going to take the wave around and come back to the lead lap as they come out of turn number 4. 100 laps to go in the season. 56 complete as Falkingham, Tommy Ryan, Josh Parker from the back, Jose Gonzalez and Mike Kelly are top 5. And everybody scatters.
This is dangerous times for these points guys. They've got to be clean here. They've got to make some track position, but also got to feel really good to have fresh tires, I'm sure.
Yeah, 4 fresh balonies are never a bad thing here. And obviously this sets up the race to become a one-stopper now till the finish as Falkingham takes the lead there. Ignore the pit thing up on the top left window. It's a glitch on the program I use. Does that sometimes. So you see David Comstock in the 10th position. Bentley Glazier restarting 14th right now. So that disadvantage they have is even bigger, unfortunately.
Chad Coleman brushed the wall coming up to the backstretch over there just a moment ago.
Might be
Just bumped it enough.
narrowing up that car just a little bit.
Now these guys trying to make a little time are going to cut that apron. When the tires are fresh, you can make a lot of speed down there. Once the tires wear out, it's not that advantageous to get down there. Boy, Daniel is hustling the car, and I have to wonder if he needs to drive this hard right now with all the pressure he's got out back. I know he wants to win.
Well, knowing that this is your potentially final race in this series, for now. You know, he wants to go out on top. He knows that, I mean, people can argue this or whatever, and, you know, some people, and we've actually discussed this in other series that I've broadcasted for and things, Mount Rushmore, the 04 presidents.
Yeah.
And I think it could easily be argued that Daniel Falkingham goes probably the first head, if not maybe the second, behind Joey Jattina, maybe the owner of the league or something like that for what he's created here, to Mount Rushmore. So some can argue right now that this is the best driver that this league has seen. So I think he wants to put that stamp on this race and say, you know what, I am the best. And I think that's what he wants to do. But Josh Parker's got other things to say here. Is he's going to go to the outside and sweep around him.
I actually am going to go Occam's razor. Simplest answer is the easiest answer. He wanted track position because he wanted clean air on the nose.
Right. As the car I call the hypocritical one takes the lead in this race. And what I mean by that, he's got Junior Motorsports on his car, but it's a Ford.
It's a Ford, yeah.
Now, believe it or not, Dale Earnhardt did drive a Ford before. If you go back to the Bud Moore days of the 1980s. That was a Ford.
I have Cody Ware's paint scheme on my Chevy, which is not right.
That's very hypocritical.
Yes.
But
Still
then
looks cool.
it did. It didn't look good last night, unfortunately. But
Last night, it pirouetted.
oh, you were flying.
Chad Coleman, 6 right now, tucked in there behind Byron Daly. No, let's not relive that moment.
And a line of cars there all the way back to Sid Byron Daly. He started this race going the wrong way, all sideways through the dog leg on lap 2. He has fought back to the 5th position, arguably the best driver not in the playoffs all of the races. That 06 car of Byron Daly. Chad Coleman right there with him. Tommy Ryan, Jimmy Coleman, Scott Simley, David Comstock there in the 10th position. A row of black cars, if you will.
To use a flying analogy in racing, flying under the radar, I want to give a little bit of love to Simley in the 12 here, the Mobile One Ford. He's currently running in that 9th position. He made the top 10 into this championship chase. He's a little out of it at this point, but that's some pretty hitty space to get in the top 10 in this league. And Scott get a lot of accolades. He kind of reminds me of, you know, just one of those guys that's out there like a Ryan Newman, not making a lot of noise, winning races, doing whatever, but consistency all the way through.
Well, it makes sense that you would pick a driver formerly of the 12 car
Yes.
to be the comparison there. Interesting. I wonder if you asked Scott Simley if Ryan Newman was a favorite of his maybe back in the day. But a story I don't know if I've ever shared about Scott Simley. I know I've mentioned about him and Wortman, and I have obviously raced for years with each other. Scott Simley won the first ever All-Star event that I put together back
Oh, really?
in another league. We ran it at Michigan, and it was an all-star race where we actually did no speed limit pit road during qualifying and did the old all-star qualifying, which they need to go back to, by the way. And I actually won the pole for that race. I finished 3rd to Scott Simley in that race. As Parker leads by a half second there, Mike Kelly moving up the track a little bit. Jose Gonzalez doesn't look like being affected too badly by that little kiss of the Wortman mobile. But Mike
he
Kelly
seems
making
pretty
that
good.
roll. Yeah.
Hey, these top cars have got some company here. Here comes Kelly. Here comes Byron Daly and Coleman. They're all running nose to tail now, where they had a little bit of breakout. Daniel's got a couple cars. Woo! I looked a little nervous going in the corner.
Well, yeah, it looked like Jose had to get out of the gas there a little bit. Mike had to get out of the gas and caused a little checkup, and Coleman's going to get to the inside of Daly. But yeah, unlike the start of this race, you're not really seeing that separation right now amongst these cars. I mean, you look right now, 1st through 10th, all 2.9 second separation. You go all the way down to Bentley Glazier in 14th. He's only 4.5 behind. So, I mean, all the cars right here on top of another, and that's part of, I think, the fixed setup, obviously, you get in this car, the looseness that you're driving, and, you know, obviously great competitors in this series. By the way, shout out to James John Dewar, I believe that's his name, cheering on Bentley Glazier on Facebook, watching us on the chat, so appreciate you, sir. Hopefully you can share the word that we're broadcasting.
You know, one of the things we've not talked about, Chris, is the fact that drivers ran the first run and maybe they liked what they had, maybe they ran too hard and didn't like what they have, but with the reset, new tires, everybody gets a do-over and they can run this stint a little bit differently. And I suspect the drop-off and the gap that we saw from the field is going to be a little bit different. Guys are going to know how to manage the stuff a little better.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. You look at the way that you go out there and race. Like, for instance, you and I drive. I'll be in a race tomorrow night racing. And one thing I always do is when I'm out there racing is I take a peek. And there's a way to do so if you're not one that races on iRacing. There's a button, the F6 button on your keyboard you can hit, and there's something called the black box. And basically what that is when you're on track, there's a box to your bottom right of the screen. You can click on it. It changes different options. Kind of like if you ever played like NR 2003 or something like that. It's that same thing. The F6 button actually allows you, once you come to pit road, to look at your tires and what temperatures they are. So these drivers had an opportunity to peek over there and say, ooh, right front's at 60 right now. That's not good. or it's at 80 right now, or whatever. So that allows these drivers to change their style up a little bit. Plus, some of them have gained track position, some have lost. So there's so many differences in this run now that allow these drivers to do things. Like right now, Josh Parker, this is his first time in clean air, and he's pulling out to a 7/10 of a second lead. Daniel Falkingham right there at second. Gonzalez has been sitting where he's about been all night, right there in the top 3. But you got Bentley Glazier back here, 13th position. He's had to change his whole entire style here because he's not in the top 3. And here he is struggling.
There's a race within this race, which is always the case. You have Tyler Dalton 1 lap down. You have Mike Montesi 1 lap down. You know, they're not close to each other, I don't believe, at this point, but they are always, when you're 1 lap down, aware of who could potentially be the lucky dog and throwing roll bar padding and whatever else they can out the window to see if they can get a caution.
Be like, was it Brad Keselowski, I think it was, at the Atlanta race about 10 years ago, throws a water bottle out on track, gets the caution, and Kevin Harvick had some things to say about that.
Yeah.
He even gave him an old pat on the back leaving the press conference. So 1 caution so far. It just happened a few laps ago with Brian Wortman. Unfortunately, those some other drivers that have had some issues. Joey Jatina, all of 1 lap ran. I'm sure he's going to be very disappointed about that, but hopefully we'll get Joey up here later on tonight and do some kind of presentation to whoever the champion ends up being for the series. And I know one thing. That man's got to be very proud, Joey. And I can't speak too much for the league because I've only been around for a little over a year now. I remember it was about October, I want to say, last year, maybe September, that Joey reached out to me and said, hey man, I want you to be a part of this, and brought me in for the Super Speedway series, which was the Sunday night series. Now it's the, of course, Winter Truck Series this season. And you know, so I've only been around for about a year, and I tell you right now, when they say, oh, caution's out,
No.
that's not what they say, but I'm saying it. Caution is out for the second time, and it's for Doug Roth in the 43 car has gone around front straightaway here, and it looks like Justin Mons might be involved some way, somehow. And the
He got
second,
together maybe with Doug was late on the scene. Yoakum. Oh, the 18
that would be Bentley Glazier. Uh-oh.
got tagged on entry.
Oh, right there in the turn 1. Randy Yoakum and Glazier, and then bam, the 43 gets tagged, turned around. And then Justin Mons is going to come. Dory Woods has to miss it. Here comes Mons. Look out.
That's the 8 right here. Woo!
Yikes.
That was just a little Texas two-step over there.
Now, what happened with, as we do have cars, some cars coming to pit road here. We'll cover that here in a second, but this is obviously the first time I get to say these words tonight. Championship implications. That looks...
I think he just tagged him on different brake entry.
Yep, that's exactly
The 8
what
tagged
happened.
him.
The 18 got out of the gas early because of the 08, and the 8 just ran him over. And I think the 18 went up and said, I don't appreciate that. And then Doug Roth became the innocent bystander. And then just a tricky situation here. You got a blind corner, and the 49 comes up there, and the 43 was rolling down the track, and, you know, just unfortunate deal there. So, all right, so cars on pit road, you see them coming off right now. The top 4 have all stayed out under this caution, in which Falkingham is going to lead the race off pit road. Mike Kelly, Tommy Ryan, Byron Daly, and of course now Bentley Glazier. Looks like his car is okay, which, I mean, this car is a pretty good one now. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it takes a licking.
Except the tire part. The wheels got to get worked on a little bit, but yeah, so second caution here. Right past halfway here at lap number 80. So 76 laps to go, a chance for everybody to reset. You're going to see our points leader, Falkingham, is now sitting back here in a little bit of traffic now. So that's going to play a role here But of course, the one positive thing here is you have Comstock and Glazier 12th and 13th. But one thing we should point out, unfortunately for the other drivers we talked about, and let me flash the points up here real quickly for those to see when I bring this up so they don't think like I'm being all confusing here. But when I show the point standings from the top 10, basically all 10 of these drivers were in the playoff race, in the final 5 races. Brian Macklin obviously is not here tonight. Tommy Ryan and Mike Kelly, those 2 drivers still had a mathematical chance of winning tonight, the championship. Unfortunately, however, we have 21st, 22nd, 24th, 26th, and 27th all off track. So that's what, 6 cars. That puts 21 on track. So basically, as of right now, Tommy Ryan and Mike Kelly officially eliminated from the points battle with what we have right now. So let's go ahead and put that out there, unfortunately. So yes, it is now officially a 3-car race for the championship.
I want to come back and get in the mindset of Randy Yoakum. You're going into the corner, you're following the car in front of you, and in order to make a pass at this racetrack, we've not talked about this, you need to be tight to the bumper. If there's an opportunity, you're going to take advantage of it. If you're sitting off that bumper trying to give space, you may not be able to get the run. We talked about how hard it is to pass. He nicked the 18, and then I saw him turn hard right to go to the outside, so he didn't clean him out. And then he ended up being the buffer for the 18 sliding into the side of him. So I know Randy didn't intentionally want to do that, and of all things, a championship contender. Right. But in the end, sometimes these things, they pay off for your championship guys. So we have no idea, but write the note down here and see if this helps or hinders the 18 here as we come back to the restart.
Absolutely. We come back to the restart, and this is going to give us an opportunity. Let's turn it up as we go green here from Phoenix.
These make me nervous for Daniel.
See the 13 there, David Comstock. This caution has kind of played a little bit of an advantage for those battling for this championship right now. You see Daniel Falkingham got the big jump. He's up to the front already with the 4 fresh tires. But you look right there in the 5th position, Kevin, there's Bentley Glacier back up there after his issues, and David Comstock in the 9th position right now. So these guys taking advantage of tires and being able to jump those guys that stayed out in that run.
Yeah, cautions go one way or the other, and in this case for Bentley Glazer, it paid dividends as he's running now back in that top 5 and wake up that 13. He could be dangerous in coming through. We learned one thing here, watching it while we were in the Turn It Up session. Daniel Falkingham, he's got fast speed. He is got tremendous pace here on the short run. Give him fresh tires, and he's going to check out on you.
He's got 4 feel goods there on that car. He's only got about a half second on Tommy Ryan. That's one thing he hasn't really been able to do in this race is drive away. Like, he's kept it within about a second or so, and then eventually, as you mentioned, in the long run, it's like the other cars kind of get back to him and get around him. So we'll have to see if that happens here. But Byron Daly, who had some issues, he's up to the 4th position. Mike Kelly's been very quiet there in 3rd. And you mentioned Jimmy Coleman, Scott Simley. How about Glenn Campbell? Haven't said his name all night. And then Doy Woods there in the 10th position right now.
You're going the other direction. Jose Gonzalez running back there in 15th after starting 5th and running up front for the better part of the beginning of this race. He's got to dig himself out of a little bit of hole. And Chad Coleman, who we thought was going to have a great run, he's mired back there in 14th.
Now, as we mentioned here, for this restart, we had some cars stay out. Josh Parker did not pit under that caution. Chad Coleman did not pit under that caution. The others took fuel only. Jose Gonzalez came in 5 seconds in that stop, so he just topped off, it looks like, and the rest of these guys looks like tires and fuel for them, so that's why they fell back, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, 39 laps on your tires for Parker and Coleman. Now 40 laps. They're going to be looking for a short caution somewhere in the near future, and then they'll have the last lap on that one.
This is kind of the situation from last night with the 58 of Mojica. You know, he took tires early and then put himself at a disadvantage when a caution came out. You're looking at a very similar spot here. If you do not get a caution for a while, this will help those drivers that took the set of tires here. If you can get a caution here in the next 5 laps, then those cars that did not take tires, you're going to be able to come back in and take tires on those cars, and they'll have a little bit of an advantage if the race goes into a long run. But I do want to bounce back real quick to the Randy Yoakum conversation. You mentioned the accident there with the Bentley Glacier car.
Oh.
And, that caution's out right on cue. Doug Roth spins over in turn 1 and 2. And the third caution, lap number 95. And this opens the door for those cars I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. Doug into the dog leg and goes into the corner.
Just kisses the wall.
And he just gets loose on entry there. And there, Brian Wortman, that poor guy, does a great job locking it down and missing. But just a lazy spin. And that caution wouldn't have come out if Wortman's not there, because there's nobody until there, Justin Mons. But, yeah, caution out for Doug Roth, third one. And here comes Parker and Gonzalez to pit road right now. So the guys that stayed out and trying to fuel strategy here, or tire strategy, on pit road now for 4 fresh tires. Now, while we're in the caution, let's bring up the topic. So,
Okay.
you mentioned, obviously, when the accident happened, the 8 got into the back of the 18 and caused the spin. Now, this is one of those tricky kind of things, because you have so many mindsets, so many things in your mind at that moment. It could be anything from outside of racing to you're trying to battle with the 18 for position. But if you look closely as that replay happened, the 8th place, or the 08 car that was in front, obviously kind of created the situation where the 18 had to get out of the gas early going into the corner. The 8 didn't see it, gets into the back of the 18. So that's one of those things where you try to teach your mindset to, when you know you're behind another car, you got to kind of back the corner up a little bit. But it's easier said than done, because you got your marks too that you think about. So I think that played a little bit of a role for that situation. So,
Well, and the other thing is, if you're in the 8 car as he's going into the corner, he sees nothing but a spoiler
Right.
in front of him. So, but this is the thing. I remember one time as a young man crashing into a car and my father telling me, "You ran into the back of him. It was your fault." He was emphatic about it. You have the brake pedal if you run into the back of somebody. It's your fault.
That's true.
It was stuck with me.
And I try to tell leagues that have the whole, hey, when it's your fault, we EOL you or whatever. Sometimes we'll be like, well, it was your fault. You came down. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who got who and who hit him in the rear? Well, that guy did. Well, it should be his fault. He hit him in the rear. But, yeah, needless to say, it's an accident. It happens at these kind of tracks. Phoenix, New Hampshire, Rockingham is another bad one where you have different breaking points and things can happen. But one thing I do want to point out, and James is watching very closely here. Appreciate it, Mr. Unofficial Producer, we'll call him tonight. That run right there, Bentley Glazier went from 13th to 5th in that short time.
Yeah.
So it was a great restart on his part, and we're going to see kind of potentially a similar situation here as we're going to have a couple cars restarting here. But appreciate the viewers. You guys ever see something, hey, we're not perfect. We're not going to catch it, and I'm humble enough to say that. So always feel free to mention it or whatever, and that was a fair point. Great job, James. Appreciate you watching. And we're going to go green here. We got to wait because the pace car pulls off over in Tucson, and we have to wait all the way over here to turn 3 and 4. But if you look back about the 8th row, you see that black and orange 81 car, and you see the Smashburger car. Those two cars with 4 fresh tires. And add Gerald Livingston to that bunch with tires also as we come back to the green flag. Daniel Falkingham continuing to lead this race. But those two cars are going to be pretty daggum fast here.
Everybody else got about 20 laps on their tires here, so it's still everyone in that top 10 pretty even. We should see some drivers trying to take advantage of that. Something we don't talk about, Chris, is the fact that these drivers sometimes mess with their brake bias.
Yes.
When you turn that brake bias a little bit, it helps the car turn down in the corner. Then as the tires wear, they adjust it back out a little bit. And, I was going to say this before. On the restarts with these guys, cutting the apron with them hustling down into turn number 1, doing what the Doug Roth car just did, driving sometimes on that apron, it becomes very dangerous when someone loses control. And if I'm Daniel Falkingham, I don't want to deal with that. I want this, if I'm Comstock, if I'm Bentley Glazier, I want to be racing. I don't want to put myself in jeopardy with having some guy come flying up to the left of me as I go into turn number 1 and miss a corner.
Very fair points. Jimmy Coleman gets loose here. I'm watching the 81 and the 26 doing what Bentley just did. If you look in the mirror, you see Jose back here, and then here's Josh Parker just going by people. It's exactly what James brought up in the stream that Bentley Glazier did a minute ago, and here he is, basically go where they ain't, as they say in racing. But no, that's a very fair point you bring up about brake bias, and that's something I don't use often. I've kind of started to recently play with brake bias. And the one thing about these flat tracks that a lot of people who don't run these tracks on iRacing or don't have iRacing, let me share with them. These cars with the basic default iRacing setup already kind of have a brake package that goes to the front of the car. So when you've got a caution that comes out and you've got to stop almost instantly to miss a wreck, 9 times out of 10, your back end comes around on you. So you've almost got to default, put the setup back to where your back end won't do that. But by doing that, you kind of hurt yourself going into the corner. So it's very tricky as Josh Parker just runs through this field. Up the 3rd, Gonzalez is there. Bentley Glazier still back there in the 7th position right now, trying to figure out the right strategy here as Daniel Falkingham leads.
And you have to know every single driver watches this 81 and says, wow, he looks like Superman with fresh tires. If it comes to the end of the race, as he zooms around and is going to take the lead on the backstretch over there, dives into turn number 3, and he'll come back to the start-finish line out of turn 4 as your leader with those fresh tires. You can see how fast he is.
That just makes you wonder if we go longer run there, if you see potentially Glazier get up there a little bit in battle or not. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see the long green flag run. But either way, still good to see a majority. 2 of the 3, it looks like, in the top 10. Comstock in the 11th position right now in this race. Still 51 laps to go. 105 laps in the books. As mentioned, this is one of the longer, if not the longest race distance-wise in the series. And I think it's perfect for them to crown their champion with that kind of distance. So, but of course, one of the big topics that gets brought up here in these last couple of years is Phoenix the right track for a championship race?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's okay. If you're going to make it this distance, it's not like the real world. I think everybody is a little more, again, the reason I like it, driver's track. How hard you drive into the corner, how you drive off the corner, you're in control of making speed. There's certain racetracks, you know this, that you could run as hard as you want. The race we ran last night at Michigan, you were just weren't going to pass because everybody was running the same speed. It was like an IROC race. Sometimes you catch the draft, but is that how you want to decide the championship? I think this race is a little bit different.
As Chad Coleman, you see getting around Glazier now, and then moving in front of Kelly. You see Gonzalez has gotten up to second. So those who just took tires here, this could play an interesting role in this race. And what I mean by that is this race stays green, then you might be looking at the guys going to victory lane right now. Are these guys running through the field? Now, the counterpoint to that is, okay, if we do stay green, do you even tempt trying to take tires, go somewhere on a green flag pit stop and see what you can get? I don't think it's worth it, but I still throw it out there.
I'll tell you, the driver who's playing it cool is Chad Coleman.
Yeah.
He's got fresh tires like the other guys, but he didn't run the goodie off of them. He's just kind of pacing himself, picking them off one at a time. And if this goes all the way to the finish, on the long run, maybe Parker used up his stuff, as I just saw the 06 bang into the wall over there by the cactus.
Very easy to do coming off of turn number 4. So I'm going to give you my honest reply there. I think that Phoenix, and this is nothing against the track, I do not think Phoenix is the right track for a championship race. And the reason why I say this is because of the type of racing you get. I do agree with you when a track should be a driver's track to crown a champion. I don't know if you see enough passing and enough racing at Phoenix to have that. And what I mean by that is, what was wrong with Homestead? For example,
Saw Gonzalez in turn 2 get off and hit the wall with the right side.
Yep.
I don't disagree with you. Wait, I didn't say this was the best track.
Right.
I just said it was okay. Let me soften my statement. I don't love this track for the finish, but at least from a sim standpoint, it's not a bad choice.
No, so I think there are tracks out there. I could argue Kansas is a track that I think would be a great championship track. Chicago,
even Nashville.
Obviously, I don't know about Nashville. That one's close because I think it has. I think there's certain factors, if you will, that I think need to play a role in that. And what I mean there is Kansas. You've got a slowly wearing out track with the multi-banking, the progressive banking, that produces racing from the bottom to the top.
Right.
And
Homestead too.
In Homestead too. Vegas, another option. Those are the tracks I think that should be, and I know it's like, oh, great, Chris, another mile and a half cookie cutter. But what were the best races this season in this car? The mile and a half tracks.
Yeah, this car does lend itself to that, as Chad Coleman has come to third.
Yep.
And is slowly but surely chipping away at this.
Yep, 3.5 seconds. Back is Ron Holyfield joining the chat. Hello, Ron. I don't know. I don't think that's how you spell Coleman, Ron, but I appreciate it. As Chad up to 3.5 back right now in the third position. Falkingham back to fourth, and he's starting to fall into the clutches of Byron Daly. And look at the 7th position. or 8th position now. There's Bentley. So Daniel's starting to kind of slide back here a little bit, and this is the first time he's starting to see a little bit of dirty air on his car. Now, granted, he's still points-wise right now. I got about, 15 points, I'd say, on Glazier, because he was up by 8 entering this race. He's got 4 positions, plus a bonus point for leading the lap. Okay, 13, but who's counting?
Here's the scenario that hurts him. If he stays out in a late race caution and all these guys behind him go for tires and they all drive around him, that could make things very interesting.
And I'm going to tell you right now, that possibility could easily happen in this race, because you're going to get to a point where you have to make a decision. And this is the type of race where whatever you decide not to do, the others do.
Well, the other side effect is if he does pit for tires and some don't, then he's putting himself back in that area where he could potentially get crashed. So again, you cannot count your chickens until they're hatched, period.
As we ride on board with Glazier in this 18 car. Right behind Mike Kelly there, 8th position. Started up there in the front row, had some issues.
3, 2, 1, turn.
And,
You talked about markers. We've not discussed this. Off of the backstretch and over there coming into turn 1, they have the cone on the outside one. And all the drivers choose different spots. You were talking about shifting before. Once the car starts to push and you don't carry as much speed, you can stay in 4th. You don't really get up to the chip where you want to drive it into that 5th gear. You can hustle the car better off the corner in 4th. And it just takes a finesse. Again, it's all on the driver and how they feel about it. And you can compensate for a bad entry into the corner by driving off differently, cutting the course a little bit.
yeah, there's a lot of little things you can do. Glazier passed Kelly for 7th. You wonder, you know what the biggest motivation is when you're battling for a championship? It's when you can see your opponent in front of you. And if you looked on board just now with Bentley as we ride again, look up there, that 3rd car. That's Daniel. So you know he's motivated now to go get him. He got past Mike Kelly. He's catching him slowly. He's only about a second, about 1.7 seconds or so off of him. So he's going to try to do his thing to get to him. But again, he's going to need a lot more help with Daniel leading the lap and, of course, entering with the 8-point lead. I mean, it's become pretty much a factor now to where you almost got a must-win for Bentley and for David Comstock back there in the 12th position right now for those guys. They're going to need to go to victory lane and probably get some help here. But again, you do get 3 points for the win. We also have the... At least you understand, James. Or you? Oh, wait, you're talking about Ron, aren't you? Never mind. You just learned something about me. As I was saying, I'm losing track of where we're chat. Ron and James are going back and forth. I know you're not able to see it, but over here trying to communicate with our viewers and stuff here. But obviously you see that leader out there in front, and with the 3 points for leading winning the race, the 1 point for leading a lap, that's 4 bonus points right in there. So there's a lot of help that's needed basically from the 18 and from the 13 from that standpoint. As you see Daly, I don't know if he got loose or something. He was way on the bottom there as Tommy Ryan gets around him.
Got a good little tussle for that 10th position as Glenn Campbell tucked right on the back bumper. Hassel and Scott Simley trying to steal that spot away.
And 44's there.
He's taking a look at him coming off of turn 2 about 3 times over the last couple laps. This time, Simley able to drive away just a little bit, but Glenn's got a good run down the backstretch, and as they dive into 3, he's right there again to the back bumper, taking a peek inside.
And Scott missed the bottom there, and that definitely kills the momentum and then gets a little loose. See the back end on the snap around there. Campbell putting the pressure on, but not able to make the move. 31.
This is what we were talking about before, right? You've got to be at that back bumper, so if the car steps out, the 12, the 44 Trans Service Ford could take advantage of that. You've got to hustle and be right there for that.
So Mr. Holyfield asked a very interesting question just now. He said, how are we doing on fuel? Let's take a look at the pit board here for the top 10 right now in the field. That shows you the length they've gone on in the pits. Let's actually switch over to the pit stop lap here. Bada bing, bada boom. As you see, most of the drivers came in right there at the lap 80 mark, which means they would have to go about 76 laps on a tank of fuel, which I think is in the window, because I know 20-gallon fuel tanks in these cars, without the shifting, I think they're good to go to the finish. If not, I'm pretty safe to say Josh Parker, Jose Gonzalez, Chad Coleman, those guys are definitely good to go, because that's only 60 laps on a tank of fuel. So if anything, it's those guys from Daniel Falkingham back that might be having to pit, but it's going to be very close, I think, for those guys. Very good question, Mr. Holyfield.
17 cars on the lead lap. Gerald Livingston running 17th, one car looking for a caution. Doug Roth, who's been pretty adventurous tonight, but he's one lap down. He's racing with Tyler Dalton, who's one lap down, and Andrew Teft, 5 laps down for Mons. Workman, 5 laps down. And you just look through this field. Mike Montesi had a good run earlier. He's kind of dropped and riding around there waiting for these final laps to go, as he's running in 15th right now. We've not talked about Charles Woods.
Yeah, the mailman.
Running 14th right now, just keeping his car pointed in the right direction.
Interesting, tonight he's running a Crown Royal paint scheme. So the mailman with Crown Royal.
Yeah. That's the holiday spirit, maybe.
Get a little Monster Energy there from Comstock. You get a Crown Bomb. Anyways, look out. So, please drink responsibly. Parker leads by 5/10 of a second, or a half second, over Jose Gonzalez. Chad Coleman 4.6 back, so he's actually fallen back from the top 2. And then Daniel about 9.4 seconds back, and then it's Tommy Ryan and then Byron Daly and Bentley Glazier as we really get into the latter part of this race. And let me throw the weather up here really quickly one more again and show you where we stand. Track temp down to 121, so obviously a little more grip is added in as we get past the 3 o'clock hour race time.
I don't believe they're going to deal with the sunset. Typically the sunsets over there are off of turn number 3 through the grandstand.
Well, turn 1, or yeah, turn 3, you're right. Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's part of the reason actually the flip happened at this track was the sun. So basically when they were doing some research trying to figure out what to do with the track, one thing they thought about was, well, where the grandstands used to be, which we got a battle for the lead here. Jose Gonzalez, Mr. Long Run, underneath Parker here, and now they're leaning on each other, and Gonzalez gets loose. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's going to buy me a break to talk about the grandstands. So where they just ran on the back straightaway there, that is where the grandstands used to be. And as you know, in Phoenix, it can get kind of hot. So during the races here at the track, they were like, well, do we want these guys baking out in the sun? Those guys being the fans, baking out there in the sun. And so they're like, well, how do we fix this? Well, we flip the track and we put the grandstands over in the turn 3 and 4 area. Now you have shade the whole entire time. Hence the flip.
Yeah, really, really smart move on their part. When you saw the 26 come off of the corner there, he snaked that right rear and left a strip on the racetrack. That's got to wear that right tire down some, don't you think?
If not, put some heat into it and definitely make it mad a little bit there. So he's just got to kind of run a couple laps.
A little while.
Yeah.
I'd go. If I had $20 in my pocket, I'd be up at the pay window, putting it on that number 38 back there.
Well, I
if
mean,
we don't see a caution, I have a feeling he's going to have a little something to say.
Let me help you save a little money for your budget, because you got a new truck to build.
Yeah.
So 0.8 of a second now as Gonzalez tries to cool down that right rear a little bit. You see Parker kind of diamonding the corner. And you see him still wobbling there a little bit through. Man, he's wobbling multiple times through that corner. So
he's going to catch a couple cars in front of him, too. He's got 4 or 5 cars out the front windshield.
And Gonna have some lap traffic here. This is actually, I believe, the longest run we've had in this race. We went green back at around lap 100 or so. So we're looking at, what, 35, 36 laps here during the green flag run. Chad Coleman's lost a little bit to the leaders. Matter of fact, the top two are the only drivers running in the 29-second bracket. 29.9 for Parker last time by, a 29.78 for Jose, and then 30s for everyone else. And you know what I'm noticing here? Daniel Falkingham, from just kind of sitting back and riding, is starting to... Oh, Justin Mon's in trouble. And he jumps to pit road. No caution. He stayed off the track. But a rough ending there for the 49 car.
He's had a rather adventurous night, has he not?
He sure has. But I was starting to say that Daniel and Tommy Ryan and these guys are starting to kind of match lap times with the older tires, with Parker, with Gonzalez, with Coleman. Andrew Teft has jumped to the pits, so starting to see some guys potentially falling out of their seat, as they like to say.
What I see in the 39 is a car just stepping out. He's still trying to hustle the car. It's got a little wobble, a little wiggle up off the corner as right rear tire has calmed down, and Gonzalez back for another try for the lead here.
And the Smash Burger Mobile looking to smash its way to victory lane potentially tonight in the final race. Inside he goes. Same song. Let's see if it's a different verse. Off of turn 2. He's going to clear him right here. Slide on up. There it is. Lead change. Jose Gonzalez to the lead. Speedy, as I like to call him. I remember the first race I covered. Jose won the pole for that race, and that day forward, I called him Speedy Gonzalez. And then, not to mention, I saw Speedy on the side of his car. And Ron pointing out in chat that, and I think it's a fair point too, Falkingham and those guys might have been saving fuel the whole time.
Yeah, could be.
All right, so
Gonzalez, he's been racing forever, and what I remember, I'm going to go back. I've just pulled up some notes from September 25th, 2006, where he was in a race with us.
wow.
He had the worst connection back in the days of modems.
We'll see. 2000.
When we used to race, his connection was awful.
I was going to say 2006. That was back in the day where you couldn't even be on the phone and lose the internet.
Yeah.
But no, all jokes aside, let's run through the field real quick here and do some updates on some of the drivers. Let's start with the 3 playoff drivers real quickly. Daniel Falkingham, who just tagged the turn 2 wall. It leads us field of 3 for the playoffs right now and for the championship. Obviously, all he's got to do is finish out this run here, and he'll be the champion. As he's got 9 seconds to catch the leader, but has a 5-second lead over Bentley Glazier. There he is in the 7th position right now. And he is 15 seconds back, and he's probably needing a caution right now, or if not more. And then one guy that really wants some help is this guy here, David Comstock. Unfortunately, his car is not cooperated with him at all tonight, and runs in the 12th position. So those are your 3 drivers in the hunt right now for the playoffs. Now, for the 811 cars, let's do a final update for the season on these guys. Tommy Ryan leading the crew right now. The Virginia 811 car running in the 5th position. And let's see, Tommy started in the 3rd position, so he's right up there in the top 5, battled for the lead just a little bit ago. Mike Kelly, 8th position for him, the PPG Ford Mustang, as he's battling Jimmy Coleman there in the 54. But
Oh, yellow on the speedway.
caution for Doy Woods.
Mm.
And one car up on the outside wall, bad camera angle, but is that Medina that's up there?
Yeah, I'm
It
trying
is
to
Jose
check.
Medina. So Jose Medina in the California 811 car. And we just talked about the changing of the complexion. Hello. It just happened.
This is where you get the ultimate nervous, right? This is where everything can change. You've run 144 laps. You're within a dozen laps to go, and we're going to have a restart with different sets of tires and unbelievable complexion change here.
Now, the field is so spread out here, I think you have to take 4 tires if you're everyone.
It's unfortunate for Gonzalez, Parker, Coleman. They had the strategy here tonight to have podiums, but one way or another, they're still out in the lead and should be fast with the track position.
Watch the 3 playoff drivers here and see if any kind of strategy here is Glazier and looking real quickly at Comstock. Those guys in there. Oh, Daniel overshoots a little bit there. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much. Bentley right there behind him. 4 tires and fuel for these guys. Josh Parker. That's a 2-tire stop on the 81 car.
Wow.
Coleman, 14.7. Great stop there.
4 tires and fuel for Coleman. 4 tires and fuel for Falkingham. There's got to be another thing we've not talked about. All these guys who are not point championship, the last thing that they want to do is wreck one of these guys.
Or
you run the whole season. This is the one thing that I don't like, whether it's Phoenix or not. I hate the fact that it always comes down to one race.
I do agree with that.
There's a part of me that says there's got to be some way to...
I think 3's the number.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here with Medina and Doy Woods. Oh, Doy was already around, and unfortunately, oh no! There goes the tire or the barriers over there from Medina. Didn't see what happened to Doy though.
He went in the corner. The car got loose when he got on the apron, similar to what we saw earlier, and then it just hooked right and nosed into the wall.
And look who's right behind this wreck when it happens. David Comstock. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Ron, I do agree. It does make it exciting. However, here's how I look at things. It's kind of like, I kind of feel the same way when it comes to football, but it's a lot different in this situation. You're out there running for 10 months, 36 races on the Cup Series. And all that hard work, yeah, I bring up Kevin Harvick, the 9-win season a couple of seasons ago, and that kind of thing. Like, one race is the end, and you walk away, and you're done. If you have a bad race, I think I see what they're trying to do, because they're trying to match kind of like stick and ball sports with the whole playoff format and things, but I think that there should be a way to have a mulligan in there for drivers to have a bad race. And yes, you could argue, okay, that's where the bonus points, all this stuff comes into play. I totally understand all that. I just think there's got to be one slight little difference that you can do. But here we go. Going to go green. Let's talk about this one. The 811.org Cup Series. Josh Parker, 2-tire Tommy. On the outside there, row number 1 with Chad Coleman. Tommy Ryan, not with 2 tires, outside there in row 2. Daniel Falkingham. There's Bentley Glazier on the outside. Anything can happen right here. Parker with a good restart. Daniel probably reenacting old Monty Python Holy Grail as he runs away.
He went way down the bottom, and you could really make time on fresh tires down there, and he used every advantage of it. Now he's going to see if he can wrestle away that lead, but he's got to be careful here.
Yeah, that might have been the winning move right there for these 4 tires, but let's see. Parker backs up the corner there a little bit, gets a little loose right in front of Daniel.
Ooh.
To the outside he goes, has to cross him back over.
You got the other two there outside.
Daniel had to get out of the gas.
Daniel's going to split back. See, this is what I'm talking about. He knows he's got to be careful. He would have pushed that issue any other race night, but tonight he's got to conserve that car.
Glazier getting a little loose off the corner. Parker holding on right now. 6 laps to go, coming to 5.
2 tires. How is he going to do this? These 2 guys behind him are going to make him pay for that.
Tommy Ryan, fastest lap of the race right there with a 79.
Don't go 3 wide. Don't do it.
Jose, you're leaning on each other.
Oh, I thought he was going to squirt underneath him. Nose to tail here for the top 3. You got to go down that apron. You got to go to the racetrack where somebody else isn't if you want to win this.
I think Daniel's in damage control right now. I think he's just got to kind of sit where he is. Don't try to get more than what he can right now.
He's just being conservative.
Know that you're not going to win this race, but just sit back. Yeah.
Yep, trying to make sure he's got gap all the way around. He just wants something like netcode to take him down.
Tommy to the top side. Say that 3 times. Fast it into the wall.
Coleman to the bottom. Big wiggle up on the top. Falkingham going to look to the outside.
Tommy's got to feel that car. I'm actually don't have a broken tie rod. And they are side by side.
These two get mixed up here with Falkingham.
I say Falkingham's not done.
Pretty wide down on the bottom. They know he's down there. They're messing with him.
They gave him the whole state of Arizona to make that pass.
They did the thing.
And now they're 4 wide off turn 4.
Here comes Byron Daly down in the Falkingham groove. I'm surprised somebody hasn't cut the corner over here in turn 1 and used the apron.
What respect these drivers gave Daniel Falkingham there. And now he's going to give one last shot here to potentially... I thought his race was done for the win. I'm wrong again. White flag.
Whoa.
Parker gets loose.
Big wiggle. What will Daniel do to get the win and preserve his championship? To the outside, wiggles, sideways.
Here comes Gonzalez.
He's going to turn it down here and see if he can get a run. He's going to get blocked. Parker on the bottom. He's going to protect.
Parker's
Final
giving
corners.
coming off turn 4. Josh Parker on 2 tires. No, he's not. I thought he was going to do it.
Unbelievable. What a way to take the championship.
Daniel Falkingham makes the pass at the
Oh,
line
rip the bumper cover off.
and cements the championship in style. 13th win of the season and the 811.org Cup Series Championship. I
Incredible.
thought Josh Parker was going to get it, and he got loose.
Those 2 tires just couldn't hold him off. When you're in turn 3 on the final lap and you know you're going to crash your way to the finish and still finish up there and get the championship, you got to take it.
That was crazy.
Incredible. Just incredible finish.
And I think Falkingham's car's broke.
What a way to end the series for the NC811. I'll tell you, just this Cup Series this year, that tells you what it's all about right there. What was it, hundreds?
I'm seeing on my telemetry 2 100ths of a second separated them.
Yeah.
And literally, it looks like Parker gets tight in 3 and 4. And then, obviously, with so much wheel in the corner, gets him loose, and then Gonzalez slides up into Falkingham. Nothing he did wrong. And they just wad it. Can I say the famous lines? Have you ever?
No, I have not. I don't know how the rest of it
No,
goes.
I've
I
never,
know
but close enough. I'll give you that.
What was it from?
That is the Darlington race, 03.
Have you never? No.
Look at this. Jimmy Coleman giving the congratulatory push.
Oh, man. What a race. Now, we can't forget back there that Bentley Glazer, 8th place finish.
Yep.
Good run for him tonight. Wasn't to be. David Comstock finished 11th, if I'm not mistaken. And how about the sportsmanship for Jimmy Coleman?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to get a burnout from the 39. His right rear is broke.
Look at the right rear. If you have the Polish victory lap, what do you call this one? We've got to come up with a name for this.
I got nothing.
I don't either. We'll let Daniel see if he has a nickname he wants to moniker this. And
Yeah, maybe, but man, what a win! If this
his
is
final race.
the final race for that 39 car, he he put his stamp on it. Dominant effort, led to most laps, and even when I thought he was done, and he showed up again at the end there and takes the win, wins the championship, and an amazing finish as some of the viewers are watching right now. What an eventful 2 nights, oh, by the way. The Michigan race last night and then this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, final results from Phoenix here. Falkingham wins it officially 18 100ths of a second. Jose Gonzalez, 78 100ths of a second, finishes third. Byron Daly, fourth. Tommy Ryan finishes fifth. Bentley Glazier, sixth. He'll finish officially second in points. Mike Kelly finishes seventh. Scott Simley, eighth. Jimmy Coleman, ninth. And David Comstock will finish third in points and finish in the 10th position there. Chad Coleman finishes 11th. Montesi, Charles Woods, Gerald Livingston, Glenn Campbell, Randy Oakham finishes in the 16th position. Doug Roth, Tyler Dalton finishes in the 18th position. I'll just go ahead and finish out the order here real quick. 19th, Brian Wortman, Doy Woods, Andrew Teft, Justin Mons, Jose Medina, Thomas O'Leary, IV, or the fourth. Doug Sigmund finishes 25th. I did that purposely, by the way. Justin Fuller, 26th. Joey Zattina, unfortunately, finishing last. But I think he enjoyed the finish after 10 months of racing. It comes down to that. Now, it wasn't the race for the championship, but it was a race for the win, and what was a wild one. And I see Josh Parker's already jumped up here, so let's go ahead and talk to him here. Finishing in the second position, Josh, oh, so close with those 2 tires. It looked like the car just got tight there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was frustrating, but yeah, it was fun. I overdrove it on entry and had no grip on the left front because I had 2 tires. But
right.
I think if I didn't overdrive it, I would have had the win. So it was a mistake there in my part. So it's kind of frustrating. But
obviously, I know you came more for the win, obviously not being in the playoff race and that kind of thing. But how much, did it change your mindset being up there in the front, knowing that Daniel's up there? Obviously, Comstock and Bentley were a little ways back. So were you careful a little bit with what kind of moves and that kind of thing? Or were you just out there trying to win the thing?
Honestly, the only one I was watching out for David and Glacier mostly. I just didn't want to really do anything that interrupted them. I wasn't really watching out for them, but there was a time where I kind of cut off Brantley there off of 2, and I ended up giving him the spot. So the situation like that I was trying to avoid, but luckily they weren't really in my path, and yeah, it was frustrating. I wanted to defend my title after the first race. I wasn't here, so I didn't get any provisional points or anything for that, so it was kind of frustrating. So yeah, tonight was all about winning, and kind of I wanted to kind of be like, hey, listen, it probably would have came down to me and Dan at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did everything I could to keep track position. I took 2 tires. I did pit strategy at the beginning. The goal was to win the race, and we almost did it.
Well, you did a great job. Unfortunately, just short of the win, coming from the back there up to second with a very bold strategy, and credit to you for that one. I definitely give you props for that, and send some shouts whoever you like to, bud.
Yeah, you guys doing the broadcast all year. Kevin, it was fun racing with Kevin. It's fun listening to. I enjoy Kevin racing. I wish he was still racing though. But, Joey, everyone at Sim500, Dan, congrats on him on the title. I know it means a lot to him. It's it sucks, but team name, Chad, all those guys, I'm forgetting them. David Comstock had a good year. Congrats to him. Brantley, I can't say enough about him. He's really fast. I didn't even hear about this guy until he showed up in this league, and I've been around forever. I've never heard of the dude. So, a shout out to Jose, man. This was his win. That dude was so fast. So, yeah, I kind of feel for him, and I'm done now.
No problem. Hey, you earned it, man. Great job. Second place finish. Been fun watching you come from the back in the what I've been calling the hypocritical car. Junior Motorsports Ford.
I got to change that, huh? I kind of got mad at Toyota with the Kyle Busch deal, when I was driving for Joe Gibbs in the NASCAR heat situation. So I was throwing off a kind of left hook at him and switched to forward. I totally forgot that my generic scheme is from 2008.
Well, you could have. There's another series I broadcast where the guy he actually has been running a rowdy number 8. But
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
So-
I mean, I'm not even a Kyle Busch fan, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
that makes 2 of us.
I'm gonna show up on a Hyundai next year.
Yes. That reminds me of the series that I also broadcast that has like 15 different mates. But anyways,
There you
great
go.
job. Congratulations, man. We'll see you next season.
I'll talk to you.
You too. Actually, we'll see him Sunday in the truck series. But Josh Parker finishing second tonight here to our winner, Daniel Falkingham. So we'll talk to the top 3 here in a second from the points side of things. We'll do a little extended broadcast here to talk
Just
to those
one
guys.
quick thing on that.
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
How the heck, with 2 tires, did he run as well as he did? I think he deserves a little credit to
Talent.
how close he was to getting
Yeah.
the win.
Talent.
I'll tell you. Shows that he's a past champion and a threat every single night he shows up here and gets behind the wheel.
Because the thing about iRacing is putting 2 tires on the car makes the car immediately loose. And for him to get out there and fight that car, and obviously, unfortunately, got just a little tight, overdrove the corner, and you saw it get loose off. That was the difference. Now, I'm looking in the stand or in the chat. I don't see Gonzalez, so it doesn't look like we'll be able to talk to Jose, unfortunately, in his top 3. But what we can do,
Let's just brag on him in a minute, though.
yeah, great job. I mean, he showed long run speed, started 5th, finished 3rd.
This race
Great
was
job.
his. You just heard Josh say it. On the long run, he drove up. He got that little incident off of 4. We saw him do a slide job almost. And, in the end, he had the car to win. I think he was very courteous on that final lap. When they came out of turn 2 to the backstretch, he had a nose ahead of the 39.
Right.
I know Daniel had a great run to the outside of it, but I have to wonder if he was just really conservative driving in. Any other race, he probably would have drove that in and maybe Ross Chastain them there like the Coda race and got himself a win. But here, I have to say, I think he played the smart card and just kind of looked to see if the race came to him off of 4.
I think it's a fair point. Yeah, Jose had a great car tonight, a great run. It would have been a great way to put the cap on a finish on a series that's been very trying for him. He's had ups and downs. Again, personally, he's had to fight some things, and that would have been great for him. But yeah, great job still finishing 3rd.
Everybody wants to win the last race of the season, don't they?
Yeah, you get momentum for what, 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Or 10 weeks, however long it is.
Yeah, you get to say you're the one.
So, now, great job on his part. Let's bring up our 3rd place points finisher, which I believe officially, if I just do the simple math here, I mean, 1 + 1 is 11. So, David Comstock will finish 3rd in points. And remember, I talked about the mathematician thing earlier. So, all right. So, David Comstock, 3rd place finisher. Unofficially, we'll say in points right now until it's officially done, which should be any minute. But David, obviously, I know, probably disappointed. That car just seemed like was a handful all night for you as you fought right around the 9th and 12th place range all night. What was missing in the car?
Grip.
Fair.
It just wouldn't turn. It went. I couldn't get it. Like, I tried to tighten it up with messing with the master cylinders, and it was free on entry. And so, in practice, it would be free on entry, and it would translate to the center off of the corner, and it would start getting loose. And so I was, I felt like that was a problem. But it didn't matter. I was doing everything I could, and I was trying, I don't know how many different things, maybe seemed like a dozen different things, short feeling, not shifting from 4th or not shifting from 5th, or only shifting on one end of the racetrack and staying in 5th and other ends of the racetrack, and trying to be, aggressive to keep position, and then trying to back the entries up and not overdrive the entry to where it would slide the rears any. It's nothing I did seemed to work. So I had no pace at all. I was running decent times. We were comparing times, I think, on that second to last before that yellow come out for the little shootout at the end. I was a 10th off of what Daniel was running. I was just marred back so far just because I couldn't pace with what they were doing to begin with to be able to keep my stuff underneath me at that point in the run, 30 laps in. So like the first run, I was on ice. I thought I was saving. I thought I was doing like a decent job of keeping the tires underneath me without overheating them, and it was just on ice the whole time. So it's just I don't know. I had no idea. I'm confused as to what to do, and it's just car is just pretty much broke.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, as I think Daniel's out there trying to lay burnouts out because I hear something revving in the background, which I think is kind of funny. So when you have like one tire moving, I wonder how that works. Isn't that pause traction they call it? But no, in all seriousness,
Rear suspension.
yeah, there you go.
Which
Right.
also sucks, by the way. The way this car responds to it, oh my god, it's so bad.
So, David, obviously, the track itself. I mean, plenty of races this season. I think one of the things that I know Joey Jattina and I have talked about is when they set up these races. There were majority of daytime races, right around 12 noon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I mean, you would have Africa hot track temps out there, and it seemed to create this racing in this next gen car that you sort of saw in real life this season, minus the flaws here and there. But how much fun was that to be out here on a track, any track, with that kind of slickness and trying to handle this car?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know what season we're in. I think season 4 update. I think the tire model that they have, with how it reacts, it made that where the racing closed up like how it was, or it made it exciting, and it really showed who was able to save their stuff better, and it made it to where it was, if you did it right or did it wrong, it really showed. But I think the mile and a half was where it was at here for being a final run down to the end. Just like how I feel in real life, this track is pretty lackluster as far as, I mean, I know I looked like we had a really good finish. I couldn't tell. I was so damn far back. It didn't matter for me, but from what I could tell, trying to look past my A post, because I was, like I said, I was so damn back. It seemed like it was a really exciting finish, based off the intervals here, from first to third. So, yeah, that was, a good finish, but overall the race in general is just pretty lackluster. I think it's just the shorter tracks, minus Martinsville, which I wish I was more aggressive to at least notch another win for the season. I could have been more aggressive on Daniel to snag that win, because it wouldn't matter here with how bad I ran tonight. But mile and a half, I feel like this was packaged with how the car drove the back half of the year, and especially into the fall here, was really exciting and really fun to run. It was, you can really save your stuff, and you can make some strides, and seeing those comers and goers was real fun. It was real fun to drive on the mile and a half for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, great effort. I know it's disappointing to finish 10th tonight and be third in points, but I mean, at the same time, you might be happy about the third in points at least. But Ron Holyfield calls you the Terry Labonte of Sim500. Not sure exactly what that means, outside maybe being the Iceman or something. I don't know. But shout out to everybody.
I don't know. Beats me.
I've
Yeah.
got nothing on that one.
How many years have you been racing?
Oh gosh, 15, 20, I don't know.
Yeah.
Since 2005, I guess.
Yeah, I was saying I had notes on you back in the day for Sim500.
iRacing wise, I've been on this since
One of the OG
2010, and
guys.
I've been on this since 2010 on iRacing, the service, and then I was
And our 2003.
trying to I got into it too late when that went off the shelves, because
Yeah, no kidding there.
yeah, so because I'm only 33, but I think I got into it when I was about 15, 16, which would have been about 05, 06, but I was like R Factor, and I think it was like an EA Sports title, because I came from consoles. So I was
It's just as much fun now as it was back then, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
It's better.
I mean, it's still fun. That's so frustrating that it is here to, like, run as I ran tonight. Yeah, it's still nonetheless really fun to just do this. It's a good hobby overall. It's a good way to get some competitive outlet, and be able to make some friends through all this, and have a good time with your buddies and all that, when we come on here and shoot the way with everybody. So yeah, nonetheless, it's always a blast being here and racing with these guys in this group. So look forward to the winter series and into 2023.
On the spot.
I'm going to
question.
look you up,
Go ahead.
Comstock, and see if you can help me.
There you go.
Because you're still fast, and I'm a boat anchor. I'm running Cody Ware paint schemes, so maybe
I felt like I was under.
Am I
one of
allowed
those
to do that,
I felt
Chris?
like I was under one of those chassis tonight. My God.
This track will drive you crazy. We were talking about it during the show. Is that we either love or hate this track, and it doesn't matter. Next week you could come back and it'd be great. But when the car is not in the racetrack, I understand how greasy the feel is that you talked about, and nothing you could do could compensate for it. And it's just, you could come back next week and somehow find that line, and it changes every time
No.
you're here.
No, I don't want to come back at all until I need to for the spring race. This place sucks. Like this
Well,
place.
there you
this
go.
repave-
The love and
This
hate part.
place sucks. I
There you
miss
go.
I miss the old before they had the grass on the dog leg and you couldn't cut through it because this car you go through it. It's so treacherous. You bottom out the diffuser. I don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
It bottoms out and it just wants to die. It just wants to spin you out and kill you. So I miss the old repave. I miss it when you had a bunch of grass and you couldn't go and shortcut everything, and it made it more challenging.
First lap on a restart with fresh tires, you go down there and you're bullet fast. Second lap,
No.
go back there, junk.
I'm with
No,
him
I mean,
on this one.
I tried running the dog leg in practice, and I mean, heck, I think it was it was one of those short runs before we had the yellow. I was just in line following I don't know who, and I can hear the rear of the car dragging on the surface, and I'm
Yeah.
on the banking, and it just steps out from me. I had to like brake save it. I don't know how. I think I brake saved the car half a dozen times this whole race. It's just it's something's really messed up with the way that they setups are, and I think it's not necessarily the car per se. I mean, it's probably a little bit of both, but there's some work to do.
They're
some
working on it.
improvements.
Work in
Mine's
progress.
on the left.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, this track is lackluster, and they need to this in Texas they need to redo.
On the spot question, since you were a console guy, real quickly, because hopefully you didn't play any of the console stuff after Total Team Control, because that's when it went downhill.
Gary, yep.
Best console game.
NASCAR Heat 2002.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm a Dirt to Daytona guy, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't get that. I'd missed that title trying to get to it then.
understood. It's all good. Hey, congratulations, and obviously go enjoy your third place points finish. And I know you got a couple of obviously weeks before the Cup Series gets back on in February, but hopefully we'll see you in the trucks a little bit and other series and see you around.
Yeah, appreciate you guys broadcasting through the year. Thanks to Sim500, all the admins for running our leagues. Everything that they've got. I think we're getting close to being 7 days a week again here on Sim500. So go check them out, sim500.com, if you want to come and join a part of all this action that we have here. Thanks to Monster Energy. Thanks to all my teammates at Team Name. Congrats to Daniel on the win and the championship. Valiant effort amongst everybody tonight. Good, fun, clean race, and hats off to everybody for keeping it as competitive as it was all year long.
Absolutely, man. Great job. I couldn't remember if I told you to do shout out, so good job on picking that up too. Good effort,
welcome.
man.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
You too, buddy. That is the
Enjoy the off season, man.
third place finisher
in a couple weeks.
Sounds good, buddy. Third place finisher in points, David Comstock, finishing in the 10th position in the race here this evening as we bring up Bentley Glazier, who finishes in the second position officially in points with a 6th place finish. Bentley, obviously for you, it wasn't one of those seasons where you were like the top dog, so to say, in a respectful manner. Obviously, you were down a little bit mid-row in points, but you found a way to just put yourself above the number that you needed to get yourself to this position here. So, from that standpoint, is finishing second in the points satisfying, or is finishing second in the points and it sucks?
It's satisfying. I've outdone my expectations, and I mean, at the beginning of the season, I was racing for 20th place and 15th place
Right.
and giving it my all, and now I'm able to get some top fives, and hopefully, next season we got some more experience in this car, so maybe I'll get some more wins. But yeah, I was, ran clean and just had a pretty solid year, so I'm pretty happy with it.
You had a few moments out there tonight, it looked like. Obviously, you had the back end come around on you in the middle of the dog leg, which was kind of scary. You had a couple of moments on pit road. I do want to bring up the pit road moment. Was there ever a thought to keep your car out from the pit stall and just go back out on track, or were you committed to saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take tires here and take whatever I get?
I just take tires because I've had it where the cautions come out on pit road and I went through, and then sometimes it makes everybody pass you for some reason.
Hmm.
So I just decided to pit, and yeah, every time Phoenix I've spun
Yeah,
out
take a lot,
going on
right?
pit road about twice now.
It happens. I mean, we've all had those moments. We talked about, and we really didn't even get the spotlighted much of how tricky this pit road is coming off the banking there, and even with the apron being so dirty. So let's talk a little bit. Is there a highlight from this season you can think back to and be like, man, that was cool?
Well, the Bristol Dirt win was cool. It would have been cooler if we had more laps in that one, but uh, I don't know. Indy was cool. Almost won. Came up a little bit short on fuel mileage, and yeah, I really love this league. Everyone races really hard. It's a struggle for every position, and we try to be as clean as possible, and it happens. It's good.
Absolutely. And you had some fans watching here this evening, and I do get asked this question. I did ask this to David. I want to kind of ask you the same question here. The way the weather and everything was set up this season, you had 130-degree track temperatures almost every single night, or every single race when you came out here on a Monday afternoon. How much fun was it running on slick tracks throughout the season?
It's a lot of fun, and sometimes I don't know. I need to mess with the brake settings. I think because a lot of times I'll get really loose in the center of the corner for some reason, and just no grip. And in some tracks it's all right, and some tracks I just spinning out every corner. So here we were all right, but we were like my tires were like 25% on the right rear.
Yikes!
There, so yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Any questions, Kev, you got for him?
How did your car set in the track tonight? We talked to David, and he talked about how greasy the track felt to him. He just couldn't get in. Looked like you had a pretty solid car underneath. You also talk a little bit about the Randy Comstock incident over there in turn 3.
I think you meant you.
Yeah,
Milton.
after I got through
Sorry.
lap traffic on that, like, because I took the wave round, I had to pass the lap cars, and then I was just trying to take care of my tires and hopefully get by Randy, kind of easy, but he wanted to race pretty hard, so I hurt my tires, and then once I got in front of him, he was driving in the corner a lot harder than me, and it was kind of messing me up, and I, didn't want to get hit, and then that last one I was like, I need to back up the corner or I'm gonna, really be hurting on tires, and we made contact, and it is what it is. I was a little upset at the time, but it was no big. It was a fun race. Like, there was a lot of struggles. The first 30 laps, I thought, man, maybe I can beat Daniel. And then once I slid, my tires were done. And then once I was in traffic, I just couldn't really make much up, except for on that one restart, I was able to pass a bunch of people on the high line.
Yeah, you look like Superman there.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a highlight of the season.
There you go. Well, you definitely did a great job, man, this season, finishing second. Easily could be called the underdog, quote-unquote, if you will, of the three, as you were definitely there. And as you mentioned, you just kind of put yourself in the right spot every single elimination round and just worked your way up the ladder there and finished second officially in points. Then some shout-outs and whatever you'd like to anybody.
Thanks to Joey, Katina, and Sim500 for letting me race with them. And then thanks to all my teammates at OGR. And congrats to Daniel. It was really cool watching him race, and I hope he does really good in the pros.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, Bentley. Appreciate your time this season, and hopefully we'll see you around soon.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Absolutely, you too. That is Bentley Glazier, of course. Second place finisher in the points. Finishes in the 6th position here in the race. And I think it's about the time that we've been waiting on. As he's been waiting down there patiently. I hope he hasn't melted in his race car down there on the start-finish line. But he's been down there just kind of hanging out, all 3 wheels of him. And Daniel Falkingham, my man. Not only do you go out here and win this championship, but you shut me up because with about 3 laps to go, I'm like, all right, Daniel's in a position now. He's just got to take what he can get. Don't worry about going to win this race. Just don't lose the championship. To all of a sudden, to the 2nd position with 1 lap to go, to Parker making a whoopsies and creating what could be easily one of the best finishes we've ever seen at Phoenix Raceway to get your 13th win and the championship officially in your hands. You are the champion.
So it feels so freaking good when you say that. I've been doing this thing for 4 years, running this series, and the last 3 years I've come up short every single time. And I just think 2 years ago at this same track, the way I lost it, that's something I've been trying to put out of my mind. I've never gone back and watched back that broadcast after what happened to me 2 years ago. And it's just sweet, sweet redemption. I guess it all came full circle 2 years later, right here at the same track, and the way I won it, in the fashion I won it. I don't think you can't get much better than that. I don't know. I guess that's the way to go out. I guess I don't know.
All right.
We still got. I don't want to say that yet. We still got a few
Right.
weeks before. But I mean, you can't script it, man. That kind of finish like that. I mean, I didn't even think. I thought it was over with 5 to go. I mean, yes, I was gonna try to go for the win because I knew Josh was on 2 tires. I had the 4. And then I almost did my own whoopsie down through the tri-oval because the way this car and you cut through the dog leg, I almost wrecked it, lost like 4 spots. So I'm like, I'll just try to sell in. I just got to get this thing home. And then what do you know? Probably one of the, don't think I've ever had a charge like that in a long time, but it's probably the 5 greatest laps I've ever had here. So probably the 5 greatest laps probably I've ever raced or ever driven. So to even have a shot there. So definitely gonna be playing that one in my memory bank for the years to come. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild race. I mean, I'm gonna have to kind of keep that one for myself. Be like, man, check out this highlight. But what a race it was! Obviously, starting out front, going out here and just dominating this race, and you had a couple of little obstacles yourself there. Obviously, the Workman incident there in front of you. I know Brian probably felt terrible about that. And then later on in the race, that caution comes out with 11 laps to go. I can only imagine what was coming out of your mouth or going through your head at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have won the race, I did win the race,
Yeah.
but like before this, I thought, whatever, gave it a shot. I just need to bring this thing home. And then, of course, yellow comes out, which I didn't mind because we could come get fresh tires and it'd be an all-out brawl to the finish.
Right.
And I felt like I was pretty good on a short run. I mean, I had a pretty good margin for pole, and I felt like I had a pretty good short run speed. So, and with Josh being on 2 tires, me lining up inside row 2, I felt like this is my race to lose. And then when I threw it away right there, I thought it was over, or the race for the win was over. So I was like, all right, I'm in this pack of cars. Please, no one crash. I just got to bring this thing home. And then we go from like 5th to the win in like 4 laps. So no idea how I managed to pull that off, especially like that 3 wide bonsai. I know I probably shouldn't have done that, but at the end of the day, I'm a racer and I'm gonna drive 110% each and every lap I do. So, just definitely meant business there. Trying to, how can you not cap off a season with a championship without going out in style? You know what I mean? Going out winning the last race, and especially in the style, the way I did it. I don't think, like I said, you can't write that stuff.
No, not at all. And you definitely earned that. And I think what helped you there is when you made that 3 wide move, the cars on your outside there, I forget the 2 offs, I think Coleman was one of them, but they gave you like the whole state of Arizona below them to make the pass.
I was actually talking to Chad, or Chad's talked to me, and he said I was gonna try to keep it on your door, but he said he just straight lined the corner. Like he was trying to do something, but he straight lined the corners. But thankfully the gates opened, I got through, and then I set my sights on Josh for the final 2 or 3 laps or whatever. I almost freaking wrecked it down to turn 1 on the last lap because I was trying to go for it, and it kind of wiggled on me, but thankfully I was able to catch it. And then I was stuck side by side with Jose, so I'm like, all right, whatever. Just let's bring this thing home, and then we'll celebrate. And then, what do you know? Like I say, it's never over till it's over. So, if Josh would have just ran his line down at the bottom, I think he would have still beaten me because he would have had me cleared. But he bombed it in there so far, he just opened up the middle, and I just gunned it. And thankfully, I had the tires and the grip to get it to turn straight up the middle and win the thing. So, boy, just I don't know. I'm out of words, man. I'm out of breath.
Understandable. 12 poles, 13 wins, 20 top 5s. And and I'm looking over the Sim Racer Hub numbers here. Now, obviously, laps, incidents per race, that kind of thing, I'm not going to really pay too much attention to. However, there's one number in particular that you did not win in this category. Do you know what category that is?
It was probably top
It
tens.
was top tens. Bentley Glacier beat you by 1 on the
Yeah,
top.
this year for whatever reason I just wasn't as consistent. Like throughout the summer months, I was just not as consistent as I usually am. Like seemed like I would win one week, then I'd wreck the next. Win
Right.
one week, wreck the next. So I don't know. I had a rough summer stretch. I don't know what it was, but I mean, at the beginning of the year, we had a few rough races. Then we went on a winning streak, and then we had a pretty rough summer. Then like once the playoffs started, I'm pretty sure we won like 6 or 7 of the playoff races. Like I know we won Darlington, Bristol. I'm pretty sure we won over half. We won over half the races in the playoffs. So we won all but one in the last round, and of course it's the race I got wrecked at Vegas. But I mean, just think. I mean, they tried to put me in a hole. I got put in a hole there after Vegas, and then I go on and win the final 3 races in a row.
Right.
I think that's just a testament that you just can never give up, and that's what I did, and didn't give up, and we went out in style, and won the final 3 races in pretty spectacular fashion. So, I mean, yeah, just like I wish I could have been more consistent this year, but I mean, I'm walking out here with the championship, so I mean, that's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, you definitely Tony Stewart the field, if you will. Here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins out of 10 in the playoffs. So definitely great job on that, man. Congratulations. Obviously, I know it's got to feel good to finally be able to call yourself a champion. I assume the relief that is there, but the floor is yours, man. Take the time you need. Shout outs, anything you want to say, whatever. It's yours.
Thanks. Gotta thank January 31st. This is their first year with me, and we're going out with a championship in their first year with me. So, can't thank everyone over there, January 31st, for helping me, for supporting me this year. And also, First Rib 8, Lock 207, who've been there right from the very beginning. They've been with me all 4 years of Sim500. They've been with me the year prior over at RStar. Like, they've been with me my entire sim racing journey. So, glad I could finally get them with a Premier Cup Series championship. So, thanks to them for just sticking it out with me, just being there for the last 5-6 years. Gotta thank Joey, admins who run the show each and every week. Who I know this ain't an easy task to do. I guess we're gonna have 7 nights of racing a week again, but definitely gonna miss these guys over the winter. And depending on how the next 4 weeks go in Contender, it's definitely. I know they're probably not gonna miss me if I make it, but I know they'll think they'll have a chance now. But I can't appreciate it. I know Joey and we've had our differences. I've had my differences with everybody, but Joey and all the admins, all they do for this league, it's insane what they do to put on the best race possible with the best group possible. So thanks to him and all the admins for all they do from January to December. I gotta thank everyone who races each every week for making these races a blast. I've had some pretty stout competition this year, and next year is looking to be a pretty stout field. So watch out. I mean, Bentley, he surprised me. Like when he came to Sim500 last year, he was definitely right on the pace there. So he's definitely going to be a contender next year for sure. And I guess he got second in the points, so I guess he ended up passing David. But yeah, shout out to everyone who races each and every week. Team name: David, Chad, Josh, Kevin, Richard Beasley, Pedro Mojica, Brian Daly, everyone on the team, Doy Woods, probably another few people I'm missing, but everyone who's raced throughout the season, everyone who's here tonight, they're a great, amazing group of people to work with in this league, and I got to know them a lot more around 2020. So we've been doing this thing, racing with them for the last 3 years, and yes, those guys are amazing. So thanks to all those guys. Also, I gotta thank my real team, North Force Racing, Presley Gilson, Vince Marsh, and then the whole crew over there, and all my teammates over there. Like I said, we got 4 straight weeks of racing left for Contender, and we're give it 110% to see if we can go make the Coke Series. So can't thank all my teammates over there and for allowing me to come do this. So shout out to all of them over there. Also got shout out to Sim Racing Development, SRDSetups.com, partner of ours as well. So thanks to all of them. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank you guys for all you do. I know you guys came in right before the playoffs on short notice, but you guys have probably been some of the best broadcasts I've seen in my time here. So hopefully you guys are back next year too, which I think you guys are. So can't wait for you guys to see what you do next year with the full season. Got to thank all the fans for watching us each and every week. Got to thank Cosman, Splashico Graphics for making me look good all season long. And shout out to my friends and family for watching. And also got to give a very, very special shout out to NC811 for sponsoring this whole deal. First year being on board with us and sponsoring the Cup Series. I feel honored to be their first ever champion. So can't thank those guys enough at NC811 for all they've done for us this year.
Well done, my man. Congratulations, well earned. All the best, obviously, in the Contender Series. If you don't make it and you end up back here, it'll be cool to have you. If not, then obviously best of luck up there, and I
Yeah.
expect to see you
Yeah, I
up
was
there.
like,
Go ahead.
yeah, it's like if I unfortunately don't make it this year, I'll run it again next year. But you will expect to see me on the grid in Daytona if it doesn't go my way. But I feel like the pressure's kind of on now because the way I kind of went out in style right there, I feel like I'm pressure now to try to make it in if that's my swan song right there. But I mean, like I said, if it doesn't work out, you'll see me on the grid in Daytona next year trying to defend this thing.
Sounds good, man. Well, great job. Go enjoy the holidays and stuff, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Kevin, and happy Christmas.
Absolutely.
You right, man.
Daniel
Congrats.
Falkingham, officially the 2022 North Carolina 811 Cup Series champion for this season. 13 wins and 217 official bonus points as he goes and celebrates with his team and with friends and stuff down there. As the boss man's up here, Joey. I still got Daniel here in chat, and I didn't see you up here until just now. But is there anything you wanted to add into what Daniel has said, and obviously a successful season here on your part?
Just in general, it's hard to follow Daniel. That was great, but no, a kid, I should say, that's got over 140 wins at Sim500, 508 starts. I mean, he has blistered our ass for a long time. Of course, our 2022 NC811 champion, 39 total wins in this series altogether. He's a leading winner of this series and probably every series we have. So if there's a Hall of Famer, at Sim500, Daniel is the epitome. He is one of the best, and we are very proud to watch Daniel make his way to the hopefully iRacing Pro Series or Coke Series. I wish that thing was a little bit different format. It's kind of tough. Those guys race all year long, and they kind of throw it together in 8 races. But given a long season or a decent amount of races, Daniel would easily make that deal. But a lot of luck goes into that, and I just don't understand how luck could play a part of that deal. But anyways, that's something we're talking about. But no, I'm pulling for Daniel so much out there, and I know I just watched his last race and had a bad qualifying run, but Daniel was able to drive back through the field. So I'm a fan, first and foremost. So Daniel, congratulations, man. And again, when you start selling Daniel Falkingham shirts, I want to buy one so I can wear it while I'm watching you. But 811, NC811 and rushing, we want to thank her so very much. Stony Benefield was a big part of bringing Miss Ann to us and NC811. We worked with Brian Morehouse a good bit this year. It's been a great program. Randy Yoakum has been very influential behind the scenes. He's worked a lot with the VA 811 group, as you saw in their cars this year. So, all in all, man, it was a great year. Hopefully, we spread the call before you dig message, and everybody remembers that now when you go out to cause any havoc in your yard. But other than that, Chris, you guys stepping in, jumping into the series, it is. I'll echo what a lot of our guys have said. It's by far the highest quality broadcast out there. You two guys have been great. We enjoy having you. Other than that, man, I'm looking forward to a break, and it won't be too long. We'll be back in Daytona, so we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Can I step in here, Chris?
Go
Right,
ahead.
guys,
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've already said, Joey, but I appreciate all you've done, and I've been here for it'll be 4 years total in December, and it's been a fun journey. I know we've had our differences, but you run a pretty stout boat over here, so I'm gonna try my hardest to make sure you guys don't have to deal with me next year. But I mean, even if it doesn't go my way, I'll be you will expect me to be right back on the grid sporting the series next year. So, but like I said, I'm gonna try my hardest to make sure you guys don't have to deal with me next year.
Well, Chris, something that Daniel doesn't know now that he's almost an iRacing Coke Series driver, I get a lot of bribes to find ways to suspend Daniel. So with him going, it's going to cost me a little bit, but that's the only way they can beat the guy, right? But
right.
Daniel, no, we've never had any issues here, man. You're a first-class act. Your family, everything you do, the person that you are, you're definitely, if anybody wants to take it to that next level, you're definitely somebody a kid should be looking at, or even some of these adults by the way they act playing this game sometimes. That's all I got.
I'm gonna wave my hand and chime in here for a second. I remember when a young guy came through and he struggled to run well by the name of Ray Falla. And now he's a 4-time Coke champion. And you remind me, maybe you got a little more swagger there, Daniel, than that. But sport's bigger than this, right? And the fact that you've come through our ranks and are going to go off to, I have to believe you're going to make it. We'll look back on this season and the seasons with Josh Parker and some of the other drivers that have won championships, and we'll remember them fondly as I remember Dean Moles of the world, John Gregarios and people that I remember racing against that were the Daniel Falkinghams of the day. But, congrats to you, Joey. Congrats to you, Daniel. The two of you exemplify the fun. That's the thing that I want everybody to know. It's a blast to do this. Hopefully you enjoyed your season, Daniel, because you have more to come, and just soak it in how much fun you've had this season.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Kevin. I think it's my best season statistical to date, and I feel like I've been raising the bar every single year for myself because I always try to be better every single year, and I don't know how much higher I can get. So,
It's
but
hard
yeah.
to win one race, let alone 13. So I don't know that it's going to sink in the accomplishment that you've had this year, and hopefully you just carry that parlay and go all the way to the top.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not gonna forget this. So I'm gonna let you guys wrap up show, and I'm gonna go celebrate. I'm not 21 yet, so well, we'll figure out other ways to celebrate.
There you go. Get your hugs, drinks. Anyways, so
all right. You have a good one, Chris.
You too, buddy. I don't think you got that joke. Anyways, here's the thing. I did the math while Joey was talking. He said 140 wins and 508 starts. Here's that little bit of Florida math I had to put into play and got it to work. That is 27.5% of wins in this series in 508 starts.
Try this out. He's led 15,000 laps at Sim500. 15,000 laps.
Against some of the best in the business.
And the thing is, it's like, it really does, to see someone of his caliber, what he's done here at this league. Yeah, I think he needs to be on that top level because he is that damn good.
Yeah.
But to have Daniel's support has meant the world to me, to have him choose us, because there's a ton of great leagues out there, and he chose to stay here. And again, 15,000 laps, over 500 races he's ran here. I don't think he's done, obviously, at Sim500, but I hope next year he's racing up there.
And you got me wondering here, and I'm going to take a second here and let Kevin talk. But Joey, it's been a pleasure to be a part of this. A little over a year now, I think I've been here with you guys, and obviously the great stuff you guys put on. I know we've just moved on to adding Roku and iRock TV to the broadcast and stuff, especially on Sunday nights. And I know Joe over at OSR on Wednesday nights does a great job with the truck series there, but all the series from the super speedways to the dirt you guys do on Thursdays to the midnight stuff on Fridays to everything. It's been fun to be a part of and watch, at least, and to be in the booth. It's very humbling. It's a privilege, and we're looking forward to 2023 on our part and seeing what, if anything, we can do better to improve our product here. So I'm looking forward to it, my man, and it's been fun, and we're looking forward to a little time off and getting going again.
Yeah, sim leagues, I don't really know what the lifespan of a sim league is anymore, but I've had my hands on some great leagues over the years, but left one out there that was kind of taken away. But anyways, that's how Sim500 was formed, and that's a great thing because it's a great league. But we're going into our 7th season.
Wow.
With drivers, I think our top 20 some odd drivers have over 400 starts here. So I mean, it's the nucleus of our group. One big dysfunctional family, obviously. But it's fun, man, and that's the thing. We don't do a bunch of the rules. We don't do a bunch of the drama. We have our days like anybody. Everybody has a bad day every now and then, but for the most part, man, this is a group of friends. It's what this is all about. We're not going to get rich here tonight. Nobody with their money today paid the house note by any means.
Right.
So it's about the fellowship, and then we're respecting the sport of racing. Even though we're not in a real race car, these guys we race with at Sim500 any night of the week, you get the level of a driver that's actually been there and done it. They understand where their car is going, sometimes too much, but yeah, just a ton of talent. So I can't thank our drivers enough for continuing to support the league and showing up. I mean, we wonder every year, when is it going to die off? When is it going to end? how much fight do you have in you to keep trying to
Right.
to bring these guys in. But next year it's going to be bigger and better with the new partnership we're fixing to announce with the Goat Racing League.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to fill up our Tuesdays, our Thursdays, and our Saturdays now with great sponsors, prizes. Broadcast groups are coming in; they're a part of that. So we probably grew our league by another 40 or 50 drivers. We'll have the
Wow.
same set of rules. So I think right now what we have built is a powerhouse, and it's mostly older, middle-aged guys. So, and that's the nice part about it. I mean, because I think that's where you get into the
Mm-hmm.
respect of the sport and things of that nature. What level that you guys take the broadcast to. So it's a lot of fun. Again, just hanging out with our buddies. So thank y'all so much. We're excited to get next year started, but I don't know what I'm going to do next Monday night. So I don't know. We'll figure something out. But thank y'all so much, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely, sounds good. And Joey, let's one final thing to pump up the ego of Daniel Falkingham. I had chance real quickly as you were talking there. I jumped over to my stats, and the reason why I did that is I've been on iRacing since May of 2012, 10 years, 10 and a half years. And comparing Daniel's stats to right now in Sim500's history to my overall stats, you said 1,500 laps led, I believe that was, or was it 15,000?
15,000.
1,000. Okay.
15,000. Yeah.
I am only at 1,100 and roughly 50 in 10 years laps led.
Well, and I'll tell you, we talked about some of these guys, and while we have a second, recognizing a guy like Chad Coleman, he's got over 1,040 starts.
No way.
EJ O'Rourke's at 1,040 starts. EJ O'Rourke's at 942. Scott Simley 831. Tommy Ryan 770. Mike Kelly 750. I mean, dude, it just goes on and on. Falkenham 508. So we're just blessed to have these guys showing up each and every week.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Well, that's kudos to you. Kudos to Jimmy and all the other admins. I don't unfortunately know them all, but all your admins you've had, man. Great job on your part. And, man, we're looking forward to next season.
Glad to have you, Kevin. Guys, thanks so much. We'll see y'all soon.
You too, buddy. Joey Jatina, the boss man, that's helped put this all together there. You mentioned those drivers. Man, I've only made, I'm doing the math now again in my head, about 500, almost 600 starts now from oval, road, and dirt oval races on iRacing. And you got people that are running 1,000.
Things in perspective, right? Because I ran for 10 years straight in NASCAR 2003, and when iRacing came out, I got out of it. I keep telling these guys, I'm a rookie. And it feels so strange to say that, but they put those numbers up. But, one of the things I'll say, Chris, about this to end my final thoughts, it seemed to me that NASCAR, the real NASCAR, had a resurgence this year. I think they're on an upward trajectory. And I feel like that sim racing, pandemic notwithstanding or whatever, is in the same boat. I feel like this community continues to grow. Joe just talked about the growth coming in, more nights racing, more new drivers and stuff. And it's only going to get bigger. And with companies like NC811 coming in, Trans Service Trucking, and some of the others, Personal Comfort and such that have supported the league, there's plenty of opportunity. So if you're looking for sim racing affiliations and such, getting your name out there, this is a good place to come. It's going to get better. Adding Roku, can you imagine people scrolling around through and you're going to find that channel? And this is how it goes. Esports.
Absolutely. And Kevin, I appreciate you coming to join me, of course, and a shout out also to
John. Yeah.
Thank you, John. I just lost his name in my head. I'm so sorry, John. John Mustian Jr. Thank you for helping me out there for those couple races. I know he's had some health issues and stuff, and hopefully he's doing well. But just real quickly, and I know we've been kind of rambling on here a little bit, Kevin, I appreciate you jumping on board there, and obviously I look forward to working with you next season. At least that's the plan as of right now, we'll say. But the one thing that has crossed my mind as I listened to what you just said there, Kevin, is the way the racing trend has gone. Obviously, for you to be a racer in NASCAR or IndyCar or any of those kind of series, it was like you had to start. And in my generation, when I was younger, you could get started at like 14, 15 years old. And I'm only 36, so that just shows you where this has changed so quickly. Now you have to start. My daughter's 3 years old. If she even thought about driving a race car, I'm almost got to get her started. And for an example, look at Brexton Bush, the son of Kyle Busch. Look at Clint Boyer's son, Cash. Look at Kyle Larson's son, Owen. These guys were infants, and they were in go-karts, and they were in those midgets that you see over at the dirt track over there in Charlotte. That track has slipped my mind all of a sudden. But you see them out there racing at those kind of tracks. However, there is a new field of racing that is coming into play now, and you're looking at it. It's sim racing.
Yeah.
Ty Majeski, William Byron, they started here in iRacing and stuff. This is another field where my dream, I'll say it out loud, at first was to be a race car driver. But then I learned that, and I learned this being a 9-year-old sitting on a press box in Florida, calling a youth football game and actually doing play-by-play. A 9-year-old doing play-by-play of a youth football game. I'm hoping my stream doesn't crash out as I'm talking, because I'm noticing it's starting to kind of lose frames here. That was my first ever time sitting on a booth calling a game or a play or a game on a microphone. So 27 years later, I'm sitting here on a microphone on a computer for simulator racing. I've had the motivation come back into me in the last year to say, you know what? Let's go try to get that dream of being on TV or being on the radio, calling a NASCAR race or an IndyCar race or whatever opens up. You know, I'm being very candid here when I say this. I'm opening up my realm to go out to local tracks nearby here to reach out and say, hey, I want to be your guy or whatever. Like, that motivation has come back to me because I've realized how much iRacing has propelled people getting to the sport. And I think the pandemic do with that. I think the fact that more people are on here doing that, I think the fact that we're able to branch out to people like Joey Jatina. I mean, I don't know if he really wants me admitting this or not, but the man's driven a race car in real life. You know,
Yeah, I don't think that's talked about enough. Is that a lot of these guys,
they race, and some of them run in real life.
Yeah,
My
family had 3 generations of drivers. My nephew's racing and my brother's racing, and I've always chose the sim race. But we have guys that were, pit crew members, guys that work in NASCAR shops, and they're in there racing. And part of that community is hearing what's going on in the real world. They're sitting there telling you, this is going on, that move's going on. It's a neat little community. There's a lot of neat nuance to it. That's a whole podcast we could do.
Yeah, right.
The off season.
so basically my point to that is in the end, you don't know who you're going to run into. So I've branched my voice out and am trying to do whatever I can do to maybe one day be sitting up there and who knows, doing a race for MRN or PRN or Fox or NBC or whoever's covering NASCAR at that point, because I know you got a new contract and yada 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 coming. But anywho,
used to broadcast with Alex Faust. Do you know him?
I know David Faustino played Bud Bundy on Married to Children.
Nope. I know what you mean, but Alex Faust is a commentator for the LA Kings. Am I right? The hockey team? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. If you watch him, he was so good. He was very Alan Bestwick-like in delivery, and he is now a lead commentator for NHL and travels all over the place and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in sim racing, the skills you learn. And but coming back to Daniel Falkingham, I'm so excited that he's getting this opportunity to be in the Coke Series. It's a difficult thing to get to, and make it or not, just the fact that he's in that discussion is an amazing thing, and what a way to cap the season for him. I'm so, not rooting against all the other drivers that were racing for a championship, but there's a certain, you want the guy to be able to succeed so he could check the box and move on to his next endeavor whole. He deserved it. He's won and represented so well, and tonight got the job done. And I don't think there's a single driver I know Glazer wanted to win. I know Comstock wanted to win, but they're probably okay with it because everybody knows Daniel put in his time and he earned it.
Absolutely. All right, we're done rambling. We promise. So we're gonna go enjoy the rest of the off season. Remember, we're still on Sunday nights on Roku, on the iRock TV, and of course on the Captain Esports Network for the Transervice Winter Truck Series. Big shout out to 811, not only North Carolina but all the United States that with the 811. Appreciate your sponsorship in this, and I'm gonna shut up because my stream is like literally about to crash. I think.